Okay, thank you, sir. Good afternoon to everyone. First of all, dear participant, please don't forget to mark your attendance by in chat box by your name, institute name, and your designation. Please don't forget. So let's start the session. First of all, I extend a warm welcome to all esteemed guests participant on this second day of Malaviya Mission Teacher Training Program. On the first day, we had the privilege of hearing from our speakers who provided valuable insights into ICT and its significance in shaping our education system. I hope you found the first day enjoyable. Today, we are honored to have with us an esteemed professor, Shivani Sharma from Punjab University, Chandigarh. It's my pleasure to introduce Professor Shivani Sharma, a distinguished professor and former chairperson of the Department of Philosophy at Punjab University, Chandigarh. Ma'am has significant contribution to the field through her extensive research, teaching, and publication. She has academic journey is remarkable, having been awarded a gold medal for her master degree. She has held various esteemed positions, including serving as UGC nominee for the Academic Advisory Committee at the Madan Mohan Malaviya Mission Teacher Training Center. Currently, she serves as the Honorable President of India Visitor Nominee to Central University since 2020. Professor Sharma has authored more than 90 research publications and has guided numerous PhD students, demonstrating her unwavering commitment to the academic excellence. She has presented at international conferences and conducted extensive workshops on various philosophical themes. I encourage all participants to engage actively during this session and fully leverage the opportunity to learn from her knowledge and experience. So please join me in extending a warm virtual welcome to Professor Shivani ma'am as she shares her expertise on the Indian knowledge system. Shivani ma'am. Ma'am, are you there? Ma'am, please unmute your.
Shivani ma'am is available.
Hello?
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Welcome, ma'am.
Thank you. Do I need to? If I need to switch on my video, you need to facilitate me because it shows my video has been stopped by the host. I need to share my slides as well, so you need to make me co-host.
Ashutosh sir, if you are listening, please help us regarding this.
Because it shows you cannot start your video because the host has stopped it.
Anyone from HANSRAJ College?
Dr. Sachin, they are doing it very soon.
Okay.
शिवानी मैम रिक्वेस्ट है आप तब तक अपना प्रेजेंटेशन शुरू कर दें.
All right. ठीक. Okay. Now is it good?
Yes,
So,
ma'am.
yeah. Thank you. So let me begin by thanking the organizers of this PDF, this program, for giving me an opportunity to share my views with regard to IKS. It's always a pleasure and a privilege to be a part of this effort that has been made by, in collaboration with other colleges, HANSRAJ College and many other colleges. It feels good to be contributing to the efforts of such a team, dedicated team. And as I would rather say that because we are here to understand what IKS actually means or what it actually refers to. So every subject, every discipline has a few goals in front of it when it is introduced. So we all know and understand that Indian knowledge system has been recently introduced through NEP, and I believe that it's a welcome note that we are now finally realizing the necessity of Indian knowledge system to be introduced. Through the teaching community to our younger generation. So I believe that it is not only good to be a part of this venture, but yes, it also makes some sense. It makes some worth while we try to explore this subject through many questions and many queries and many discourses. So I shall be sharing my slides also so that we have some idea what we are trying to do. So the very first question that comes to our mind is that what we are trying to, as I said, that every discipline has its own goals, it has its own aspirations, and rightly done by NEP that they have introduced IKS so that I believe the tentative ambition behind this could be to introduce our generations and faculty members and authorities about the cultural value system or the roots of the culture to which we actually belong. So in that context, as a student of philosophy, I deem it fit that whatsoever comes to or whatsoever comes on the table to be, as for understanding, for developing an understanding, it is a good way to begin by analyzing the concept itself. And as you can see that we are trying to understand what Indian knowledge system actually refers to. So in doing so, one can dissect this phrase, that is Indian knowledge system, into at least three pillars or into three perspectives. And we all understand that history is somehow embedded in it. And I can say it with some surety that when we talk of the purpose of IKS, we are also simultaneously trying to address the purpose of educational system. Because when Macaulay we read, it is available on the internet. Those who wish to just find the document, it is easily available. If you type it, Macaulay's document on education, you'll find it is clearly mentioned in that document that the purpose of education is to get a job. Now, this kind of an attitude probably, as I said, that history is one of the fundamental pillars of knowing oneself, because we are trying to explore the roots of our existence. We are trying to, the possible roots. I'm not saying the only, it is not going to be the only discourse on IKS. There can be a number of discourses, number of perspectives on this. And this is only one. And in doing so, I feel that history does constitute a great, it has great contribution to play when it comes to understanding of your own existence in a certain time frame. And in doing so, I feel that history is the sum and substance of one's existence. It is not merely past, but it also gives us or portrays a trajectory that we have traveled from one point to another. And it also provides a reason why we are here today. And also it gives a roadmap for future as well. So hence I can say that history is not merely the past, it is not the bygones, but yes, it also, through the bygones, it also helps us to make sense of the future. It also helps us to, make some kind of future aspirations feasible. I mean, to portray some feasible human aspirations in the future. And in that context, I would like to place that how history has been. Of course, the purpose of NEP is not to challenge the discourse on history that we have been given so far, but yes, it in one way it can actually
Madam, I'm interrupting you, please.
explore the. Sorry.
आपकी स्लाइड मूव नहीं हो रही है, क्या मूव कर रहे हैं इसको?
हाँ, अभी मैंने किया नहीं है. I have
Okay,
not
okay,
moved
thank
my
you.
slide.
Please
It is just an introduction.
Please continue.
Yeah, don't worry, I'll be moving them soon. So I would say that it is not an attempt, NEP is not attempting to challenge the available discourse on history, but yes, it does through its humble attempt trying to explore if there is any possibility of a discourse which was left out. That is the only purpose. It is not that one can say, that this X is the discourse which is going to be final. After all, sometimes there are only interpretations that is in the hands of human beings. In order to understand and locate themselves, it is only what they have, that is interpretation of the events that have passed by. So I believe it is not a challenge, but yes, to explore the possibility, if there is any, with regard to any, foundation that has been missed. And that is probably where I would like to, place this question, this worry that I have started with, the purpose of education. For example, we have been told that the purpose of education is to seek a job. Now, when we look at from Indian perspective, we look at the concept of education system that we have had so far is Vidya Yasa Vimuktaye, which actually suggests that the purpose of education is something which liberates. The purpose of education is Vidya Yasa Dadati Vinayam. I was observing the participants. There are people from Sanskrit as well. I'm happy to know, and they can correct me wherever they find my pronunciation incorrect. So Vidya Yasa Vimuktaye and Vidya Dadati Vinayam. That is the purpose of education, is to bring in humility. It is not something which actually, the purpose of education is not to fetch any job. Vidya has its own significance. Education has its own significance, and that is to be placed on the table for our upcoming generations to know. And how will our upcoming generations would know unless until our present generation of teachers and academicians, as pre-thinkers, they introduced, or first of all, they should at least know what are the possible discourses available. And similarly, it is an irony that in the name of history, sometimes we have been also introduced, some of the theories, major theories, in the name of Jewish scientists and many other scientists. For example, we only know of gravity, the law of gravitation, through a Westerner, but we were not introduced about the principle of gravity or Gurutvaakarshan until unless we see especially Brahmagupta, right, when he comes on the scene and he mentions that it was not Brahmagupta, I believe it was before Brahmagupta was 1,000 years before Newton. There was another scholar who mentioned 500 years before Newton, who mentions that Brahmagupta has mentioned, who was 5 years earlier to the scholar, who mentioned that Brahmagupta mentions about the akarshan of Prithvi, right? That Prithvi has this attribute of akarshan. Of course, the term was not mentioned as Gurutvaakarshan, but yes, there was an akarshan mentioned with reference to the gravitational pull. But why we were kept at par, or why we were kept away from this fact that there is a possibility in the Indian history as well, which mentions about this special ability of Prithvi or globe. Why it was not introduced? That was such questions formulate the query, the possibility of an availability of another discourse in history. And this may sound like a worry, but it is actually true because it is an academic venture. So I believe for academicians and for thinkers like us, it is always better to have an open discussion rather than to build our own structures which are baseless. And also we also find we have just only heard so far that history has envisaged many facts with regard to this, with regard to the that we are trying to explore the possible perspectives of history, and that shall be done during this lecture and deliberations under this system of IKS. So as I said, that we are trying to look at Indian knowledge system with regard to at least three principles. One is that we are trying to make sense of the term Indian. And when we are talking about knowledge, we are surely talking about some kind of a source from where this knowledge is derived. I mean, not every knowledge is knowledge. Some knowledge is merely information, and this presentation in itself is not knowledge, I would say, because knowledge has a specific feature in the Indian context, and that begins by the first anubhava, that is first-hand experience of truth. And in this context, it would be right to claim that Veda, or the scriptural knowledge that we can refer to, is probably taken up as the source of Indian knowledge system, and that shall be done in little detail in upcoming time. And also we find that when we are referring to a knowledge or Indian knowledge, it is portrayed as a discipline. It is portrayed as a system. It is not that it is haywire and we do not know what to do, when to do. There is a proper channel, there is a proper methodology, and there is a proper discourse that has to be shared, and it has to be deliberated upon. And hence, it does not miss upon the attitude of the people who have been native of this land, who have been residing on this land. So we shall be taking up, in order to understand how and why IKS, we are trying to attempt to make sense of the current history in the light of the possible history that could have been there. And also, history is not IKS. History is a provision to visualize the facts or to rethink or reflect upon the facts that have been delivered to us. And hence, as I said, that identity becomes one of the pillars when it comes to explore the concept of Indianness or Indian, the term Indian. And when we see especially identity, when we attempt to explore this concept of Indianness as identity, what identity actually constitutes is one of the fundamental questions. So, as I said, that we cannot miss on the native mind that has been living here, and we all understand that we have been given with a theory of Aryan invasion theory. Now there is another perspective to this. There is another counter perspective, I would say, that we have been told that Aryans invaded this Sabhyata, Sindhu Sabhyata, and why this IKS, another point that just came to my mind, why this IKS is important and significant in present day times, because many of us would not even recollect the original names of the Sapta Sindhu Sabhyata also, the 7 rivers, and which one is a feminine river and which is a male river amongst them. So in this attempt, our present generations, our present student generation would not know what a Sikni actually refers to, what Vitasta actually refers to, what Shatadri refers to, until unless our own very teachers start attempting to explain them, explain these names, because language is the fundamental medium through which any culture is sustained or any culture is destroyed. And probably this is the reason that we are deliberating in English, which is, I would not say it is an irony, but yes, it has become a norm of the day that English has been taught to us. For what reasons? We should ask ourselves first, rather than challenging anybody else. Why we have allowed this kind of an educational system whereby our own mother tongue has been kept on the back seat. Anyhow, so continuing with this argument of Aryan invasion theory, we have been told that Aryans invaded this land. Now, we have not been taught, or we have not been told, we have not been introduced to the arguments which were given by the other set of scholars, and I would rather mention their names. One of them is Professor G.C. Pandey and another is Kundan Raja, who are actually introducing us to this very idea that Aryans did not invade. And what are the possible reasons for this? They have their own theory, and that is, what is the, what constitutes the crux of this deliberation is that first, an invader remains always an invader, an Akranta remains always an Akranta. And we do not see history of or record of any such event whereby these Aryans were planning another, invasion, because it is not, the boundary of China to Sapta Sindhu Sabhyata. It was not far. Even Myanmar on the other side, we do not see any records available whereby these so-called invaders planned another invasion on some other land. First. Second, it is also not found, there is no record found that whereby the so-called, Dravidians were residing in the north. And why did it so happen that Aryans pushed Dravidians up till Vindhya? Why not actually, push them outside the peninsula? Why they kept this demarcation that Dravidians would be residing down Vindhya, and why Aryans would prefer residing in the north side of the country? And third, had it been so that Dravidians were residing here, what are the linguistic traces that we find of Dravidian language in the north belt? For instance, we all know, those who have been in Delhi, they would know plenty of roads are in the name of those who invaded India once. And there is a small town in Himachal, those who would know, Dalhousie. So Dalhousie is not the original name of that place, of that town. It is in the name of somebody who was a non-Indian. So such traces, linguistic traces, also show that there was once a community who was residing here or came here or visited here or invaded. And once they left, there were certain names kept on, keeping on the spirit alive that yes, something happened, something happened to this part of the land. We do not find any Dravidian names in the north belt, which also shows that Dravidians were not residing in the north part of India. And Aryans did not invade. They were the natives of this land itself. Fourth, which is very significant and very important point with regard to this Aryan invasion theory that we find is that Professor G.C. Pandey mentions in his book that it is just like a girl when gets married and moves to a new house, she often remembers and records, the experiences of her parental house, and she maintains a diary. Even if she doesn't maintain a diary, she often narrates it to her new friends and new family members that my parental side had this and this kind of a thing, or such, facilities were available. But no such reference is found in Vedic text, whereby it is said that the place which Aryans left for the current place or current station was not good or was better, or what kind of an experience, possible experience that we can think of as of now, is not available. Which also shows that Aryans never invaded. They were originally, they belonged to this very land, they belonged to this very place. So, on account of these four possible perspectives, and it's a challenging one, of course, one must think that what was the reason for not introducing these, I would say, these questions to the young Indian minds, or to the school children, rather than introducing them to such an account of Aryan invasion theory, which actually corrupted the complete historical understanding and one's identity as well. As I said, that history is partially constituting your sum and substance of identity. It constitutes, it helps you to figure out your roots, from where you belong actually. This belonging, this sense of belonging is very, very significant in developing an identity. And in this context, one must actually, if not ask, at least reflect on the fact that why this perspective was not introduced. What could have been the reason? I mean, even if we are not challenging the history so far, but at least we are free thinkers and we can think and reflect on the possibilities of not introducing the other side of the story. So, in continuation, we do find in the Vedic scriptures, and when we when we refer to Vedic scriptures, we are surely referring to Rig Ved, Atharva Ved, Yajur Ved, and Sam Ved. Of course, we find, the kind of spirited sentences and statements, that is Mata Bhumi Putroham Prithivya. It is not for Indian army only, who have the privilege to feel elated and to be in, a rejuvenating mode, whereby, they are always, their tempers run high the moment it comes, the matter comes to their motherland. It was a Vedic rishi equally felt. In fact, we should rather think that what was the necessity for a Vedic rishi to write such a sentence? Mata Bhumi Putroham Prithivya. And in many political discourses, you must have heard, this is a common cliche nowadays, Vasudhaiv Kutumbakam. This entire world is one big family. What actually is meant, what actually is the spirit of such a statement, that actually helps us to understand the psyche, the mind, the psychology of the Vedic rishis, of the, revelators, or if I may say, the drashta of the Vedas. So, another significant point is that in order to make sense of one's identity in the context of Indian land, we cannot skip the literature that has been written on this land. And by that, I specifically mean Sanskrit literature. And many forms of literature are available, no doubt about it. But surely Sanskrit literature has contributed a lot in developing and constituting the identity of Indian mind. When it comes to Shakuntala, I mean, how can we not refer to Kavi Kalidas? When it comes to look at the imagination, it is not merely imagination which is at the play. This imagination is helping us to connect with what is available to us, what surrounds us, who surrounds us. So, I mean, now through many, efforts, we are introducing environmental ethics and environmental sciences. But look at Meghadut, look at, Kavi Kalidas when he writes Abhigyan Shakuntal, and when Shakuntala is about to leave the premises, the ashram, everybody is not only, it is not only she is crying and her friends are crying, but everything seems to be so depressed, everything seems to be so low in their energy, be it a deer, be it the river, be it the tree or the lata, which is, holding on to a tree. Everything is falling low just because Shakuntala is leaving. I understand that it is a matter of imagination merely, but imagination is representative of your psyche. You are not treating nature as your competitor. You are allowing your prakriti, you are allowing your nature to participate in your life. And hence, Mata Bhumi Putroham Prithivya, such statements. And even in many of the religious scriptures, you will find that I remember from Guru Granth Sahib, they would say that Pani Pita, something of that sort. So this equation, maybe it is imaginative, but look at the humility, the humbleness that it leads to, which is more significant. And hence, when we are talking of identity of Indianness or Indian mind, your aspirations, your value system, your cultures, your cultural heritage cannot be kept aside, and you cannot be treated as merely a piece of matter. You cannot be treated, or you cannot treat yourself as a mechanic or a machine which is without a spirit. And hence, this entire business of spirit, consciousness, and I'm sure that we all understand the difference between consciousness and mind. Mind is not consciousness. Consciousness is something which gives mind and body a reason to vibrate, or it becomes an instrument. A mind becomes an instrument only in the presence of consciousness. And hence, consciousness is not mind. This is, I believe, is to be taken that we all understand this. So, I would say that when it comes to the literature part of Indian knowledge system, it has a lot to contribute, because the Kavi Kalpana, the imagination of the poet, is actually providing a ground or a foundation to make sense of the original knowledge system that we are trying to refer to, that is the Vedic scripture. Because we do not find any claims with regard to science the way we find in our textbooks today. I mean, there is a possibility of presence of some other kind of a discourse available, but surely not this kind of a discourse. Also, when it comes to history, as I said, that there are many things which are now seen, or now people have started talking about it. It is not that earlier it was not present. We also find it very, sometimes not shameful, but we used to we never addressed such questions, and we considered them as mythology. For example, Vimana Shastra. So we now find one of the references is found whereby, it is said that the Pushpak Viman was, it was a mythology. It was considered a mythology. And once Saraswati was also considered as a mythology. It is thanks to NASA, which actually, conducted some experiments and found it for us And I would say it is a matter of shame on the part of, uh, intellectuals and citizens of such a country which had Saraswati once, who were not believing in its factuality, rather treated it as a mythological river. And we all understand what we mean and what we refer to as a myth. So the point is, when we talk about, I was referring to, sorry, I was missing on this, Vimana Shastra. So those who have any idea of Arya Samaj, they would know that Swami Dayanand in 1870s or 75, he mentions about this Vimana Shastra. And there was a thinker, his name was Shivkar Tarpade must be a Maharashtrian, who actually talks about that he mentions about Dayanand Saraswati, who is mentioning about Vimana Shastra, and this Vimana Shastra was written by Bharadwaj Rishi. And Shivkar Tarpade mentions about Swami Dayanand Saraswati, that he mentions in his book that there is a Vimana Shastra, and the lowest category of this Vimana Shastra was three-wheeled, Viman. And every average guy would have this, possess this. Now, Shivkar Tarpade, his hands were cut once he pronounced this statement. But we were introduced about the Wright brothers, that they were the inventors. Now, such accounts actually, this is a woke movement, if I may say. This is a woke movement, means it is time to wake up. It is a waking up call. And we only till now knew, that aeroplane was designed and invented by Wright brothers in 1905 or 3. But there are many other accounts. We have been introduced with another historical event, that Nalanda it kept burning for 6 months approximately. But what was the story behind? The story was that it is believed that Khilji was once, unko kahin chot lagi, something happened, and there was one acharya from Nalanda. I believe it was Brahma Bhadrasen, right? It was Acharya Bhadrasen who treated Khilji, and now Khilji wanted to meet, and he went to thank Acharya Bhadrasen, and he saw that he is teaching in Nalanda, and he asked, Anita has raised her hand. Do you wish to ask, Anita ji? Anything? Is there anything you wish to ask? If no, may I continue? All right, I'll continue. If you have anything to ask, you can drop in a question, right? So Khilji went to meet Acharya Bhadrasen to, pay his respect for treating him. And Khilji asked, this is a nine-storied building, Nalanda University. And he asked if this library contains one book, which we all understand what he meant. And the answer was no. It is a library. It is an academic area. It is not a religious place. So it does not contain the book that he was looking for. And it is believed that it was set on fire only for this reason, that it did not have this book which Khilji wanted it to be there. Now, this kind of a pain, this kind of an agony that is in the hearts of the natives, that should not, I would not say that it should not go wasted, but yes, we must know the reasons. As academicians, we at least should have this courage to address such questions and look forward to the counter answers or unpleasant answers or unpleasant questions in its own sequence, so that at least there is some clarity thrown on this. So when it comes to identity, I would say that Sure. All right. Okay. So when it comes to identity, surely some imagination, the aspiration that people of this land had, the value system they had or they were following cannot be uh, disregarded, cannot be taken out of the land and this question be addressed. I mean, there are plenty of examples. I'm reminded again of one of the references from Somnath. When if you go and see, there is a huge pillar in Somnath in Gujarat, and you will find that there is a globe on that pillar, and there is a bow and arrow on that globe, which actually shows that if you go down in the direction of this arrow, you will be landing up in the South Pole. And how did they do this? I mean, how could they make such predictions? That is one question. We have been told that even Jyotish Shastra is not, I believe it is again McDonnell or Macaulay who mentions, we'll have the slide for it in upcoming slides, that India did not have even Jyotish as their own educational system. It came from China. They had Babuli Vidya, and Indians, they learnt it from them. And there are no records, there are no evidences available to, justify such a claim by the Europeans. So I believe that it is high time that we start understanding the discourse that has been delivered so far, and if there is a possibility of another discourse, by challenging, by questioning, by re-questioning, by reflecting on what has been delivered so far. So when it comes to identity, we cannot deny what kind of features we are trying to refer to. Surely the physical feature of the land is very, very significant. That is how we unite, that is how we connect with the physicality of the land. And we see the Vedic statements, especially Rik Sanghita, we have Yasyebhe himavanto mahitva yasya samudram rasaya sahahu, which actually tries to tell us that there is a land between the Himalayas and the ocean. And this is known as Prajapati Kshetra. Prajapati is the one who has created. There are plenty. Another very significant point, very quick point, I would like to, I believe there is a question. If there is a question, you can let me. All right. So there is another significant question, that we have been told that we are a secular country. What was the need of adding up this word secular? We were a polytheistic, What does polytheism mean? Polytheism means actually that we already believe in the multiplicity of gods and divinities. What was the need of adding up this word that we are secular people? Were we not secular enough that we believed in polytheism? Which logically implies that we are not imposing our God on you. You are comfortable enough in my presence. If I believe in some entity, some divinity, and you may believe in your own divinity, what is the harm in it? So this kind of manipulation, this kind of interpolations with regard to history and historical facts. Now there are studies being done on such, interpolations into the facts in the name of epistemic violence, epistemic injustice. Because knowledge system has been broken through, knowledge system has been played with, and this gives us quite a convincing reason to look into things from a different angle, from a different lens. And as I said, that the physical land is equally important in order to constitute your identity. Another significant reference comes from Rigveda Samhita, is that the rishis and munis, they were aware of the Marubhumi, which is beyond the oceans, Himalayas, and from Hindu Kush to Arabian Ocean and Ganges. That is Samudrasya Dhanvanardrasya Pare, that they knew that there is a desert beyond the ocean as well, to which we nowadays call Rajasthan. Another reference that this north belt was Punjab Pradesh, and those who are from Punjab, they would know better that it is indeed a matter of pride for them to hold this culture, uphold the cultural values, because it is believed that Vedas were written on the this Sapta Sindhu Pradesh, which is nothing but Punjab. And also, we have been only told so far that there is a river Saraswati, which was serving the Panchajan. We have been only told about 4 Varnas, that is Brahman, Kshatri, Vaishya, and Shudra. And in the name of Brahmins, many Manusmritis have been, the copies of Manusmriti have been burnt. Without even reading, we believe in burning them. For what reason, they would know better. But my submission is that it is better to read and burn. It is better to find out references and then interpret in the right frame and then probably burn it. And there is a possibility that you may not find a reason to burn it at all. This is also one of the possibilities. We have been only told that there are 4 Varnas, which is the Veda mentions Panchajat. Who is the 5th one? We should ask. I mean, lopsided knowledge has done great harm than any good. So Panchajat is another category of people. It is not a Varna. It is a Jat. That is the Panchajan. That is, Panchajan is the 5th category of people, which is the people who are living in forest, जिनको आज हम scheduled tribe कहते हैं. So even rishis, it is not that rishis were not aware of the city, the pleasures of city life, but they also acknowledged the presence, existence of forest people, those who were living in forest. And it was not so that they never, they could not have, or they could not enjoy pleasures of life by living in city, main city. They rather approved and lived and preferred a life in forest. We must ask why. Because they were primarily teachers. They were primarily seers. They were sages. And a sage cannot have a life of pleasures, or he cannot be a hedonistic person in his personal aspirations. And that is how he preferred a forest life over a city life. That is how we get to know, or they got to know, that there is another class of people living in the forest, which is known as Panchajan. And that is how they write that Saraswati River is actually flowing, actually nourishing all the Panchajana, that is Brahman, Kshatri, Vaishya, Shudras, along with the forest, the people who are living in forest. And Eka Chetat Saraswati Nadinam Shuchiriya Yogiribhya Asamudrat. And this Saraswati Nadi it starts from the Himalayas and runs down to the Samudra. And also, when it comes to the physical features of the land, we all keep using this term, Desha, but it has a peculiar, those who are into some kind of rituals, they follow rituals, they would know what I'm actually referring to or talking about. So even in one big land, there are particular lands, and that is how the physicality of a nation is decided. That is how, those who know that while we make a sankalp in our daily routine, in daily prayers, we actually, take water in hand and then we pray that on this part of land, I pray, I make this sankalp. Such kind of rituals is not, we cannot claim that they are unscientific. That would absolutely another trail that would absolutely invite another kind of discussion and a lecture. But I'm sure the people or Purv Mimamsakas, those who have introduced rituals, they would have their own arguments, and I would suggest HANSRAJ College someday they should actually aspire to invite such a person who knows the science of rituals. But now, as of now, my aim is to make sense of the land, the physical land, the geographical land, how we connect with it. And that is how, Brahmavarth is the Pradesh, or Brahmavarth is the land between Saraswati and Drishadvati. And it is very unfortunate on our part that, like, we are now again waiting for NASA to explore the Drishadvati river as it explored Saraswati. I mean, it is such an irony that we need always, an external hand to prove it to us that, oh, you have been doing some good in your history. There was Ram, there was Krishna, there was so and so. I mean, had it been left to us, we have actually categorized Ram and Krishna as mythology or mythical beings. I mean, that is how we treat. We do not feel bad about anything. That is one of the good things about us. So Brahmavarth is the Pradesh, which is known for Yajna Anushtana. As I said, that Mimamsakas were ritualists, and they introduced the ritual. They were not the ones who introduced. Vedas already have ritual part. For your information, let me just briefly clarify that Veda is divided into 4 sections. Every Veda, that is, we have 4 Vedas, and every section is divided into 4 parts. One is the Mantra Bhag, the other is Brahmana Bhag, and third one is Aranyak, and then Upanishads. The Mantra Bhag actually refers to the Ucharan of the mantras, that we all know that it is a polytheistic society. We have been personifying even nature. We have been treating Varun as a Devata. We have been treating Agni as a Devata. We do not mind treating Indra as a Devata, So everything is a Devata for us. And when I say Devata, it only literally means anything which Dyu Dhatu refers to brighten, to that which brightens us, that which dawns some light on us. So this brightening up of the phenomena of brightening up actually refers to divinity or Devata. We are not talking of God with G capital. We are referring to small gods, or gods with small g, or we can also refer them to as divinities, little divinities, So they were fascinated by, Mimamsakas were fascinated by Yajna Anushtanas, and they found it from the Brahman Bhag of the Vedas. Mantra, Brahman Bhag refers to the rituals, and then comes Aranyak Bhag, because Indian culture or Indian philosophical tradition has never held this view that you are going to stick to one of the ashramas, and we all know there are 4 ashramas, that is Brahmacharya, Grihastha, Vanparast, and then finally Sannyas. So they all that they are suggesting is that man is supposed to, transgress every stage of life by enjoying it, duly enjoying it. Enjoy your Brahmacharya by reading, by learning, and then enjoy your Grihasth by reproducing, and then leave that Grihasth so that you can aspire for higher values, and then enter into Vanparast. And how can you enter into Vanparast? Because you have to leave your home that you have built. You need courage. And then leaving that house also involves knowledge of the forest. And that is how Aranyakas make a very significant stage section in the Vedas. That is how Aranyak is one of the fundamental parts or sections of the Vedic literature. And finally, it is the sannyas, which is referred or which can be seen in connection with the Upanishadic teachings that will come in a while. And Yajna Anushtan, and the people who resided in this Brahmavarta Pradesh, they were fascinated by Yajna Anushtan, and they were also known for their Achara Sanghita. It is not a matter of, purity and piousness, but yes, they were known for their, Achara Sanghita, that is character and conduct. Brahmarishi is another Pradesh or is another section of land which actually nowadays known as the Alwar, Delhi Mathura belt till Alwar. Madhya Pradesh is another section of the land of this country, which is from Himalaya to Vindhya, and then Vinashan. Vinashan is the area from, it is believed in Allahabad. It is right there at the Sangam point whereby Saraswati and Ganga and Yamuna, they meet, and Saraswati elopes from that point onwards. And Aryavart is another place, or it is one of the sections of the land which is between the oceans of the east and the west. It is between Himalaya till Vindhya and the oceans between east and the west. And entire Bharat, that is known as Jambudweep. And also, when it comes to the physical, the integrity that we find in the physical as reflective of the mental, we also find that Vedic statements like Janma Vibhrati Bahuda Vipachasam Nana Dharmanam Prithvi Yatapasam. It is not that the Vedic seers were so overpossessed by their own spirit and aura and egoism that they never considered others existing on the other parts of the globe. No, they mention it, that there is a possibility that there are other kind of people living on other parts of the globe, but we on this land are not in any competition with the Prakriti. Rather, they endorse Samarasta with the Prakriti. And it is an irony that we probably would not know the names that I could find for this academic purpose with regard to the terms that we find in the Vedas about the grasses, trees, flowers, and food items that they had been using. For example, Ulpa, Kash, Kush, Trina. Trina is normal, it is a Tinka. Even Darbha, Munj, Durva, Shashpa, Balvaj. I'm sure many of the forms of grasses are still found, and still we use them in our daily offerings to, in our Sandhyan Vandan. Shashpa, Balvaj, Biran, Shumbal, Shad, and the trees Ashwath, Udumbar, Nyagarod, Karshamya, Palash, Vikhantak, Pushkar, Kumud, Pundari, Apamarg, Alambur, Murva, and Yav, jaw. That is, Yav is found food of, the Vedic seers, rather than rice and kapas, which comes at a much, much later point. So, having said this on identity, the physical contribution of the physical land contributing to development of my identity or constitution of my identity, at the same time, we are also supposed to understand this is one part, the physical part. The other is the aspiration part. That is how people have been aspiring for knowledge. What is knowledge? How knowledge is different from, let's say, information. What makes knowledge wisdom? Because we have always been aspiring for wisdom. Knowledge is, of course, the first step. But apart from knowledge, we are more interested in wisdom. So, it is believed that we are not living in laboratories. We are all vulnerable. We are anything, but still we are not saying this or propounding the theory of chaos. We are all living in a cosmic reality, and this cosmic reality actually means nothing but a systematization of events occurring. When sun is about to rise, it rises. When sun is about to set, it actually sets. It never happens that it is time for sun to set and it does not set. So it is not so. There is a cosmos. There is a principle which is involved. But yes, we cannot deny that even tsunamis happen, even cloudburst happens. But they have their own reason. They have their own cause. I mean, there is a cause behind it which can be read and studied and can be interpreted. Absolutely, that can be rationally understandable. So the point is that the first the first-hand experience of anything would actually constitute anything as knowledge. This is entirely an information business. We are informing, we are reporters, we are just narrating what we could gather for your benefit, for your understanding, in order to inform you. But when this information is actually realized, is actually taken more seriously, is actually felt, is actually, it becomes a part of your character, and you exercise some of the points that you may agree or may not agree, probably there is a chance of development of that information into knowledge. And wisdom is something which actually comes from the rub of life. When life does not spare you, there arises wisdom. So I believe that knowledge, the first hand experience transforms. Every knowledge is very, very significant, is very potential. Until unless it does not transform you, it is not helping you out. Any knowledge system, be it Indian or be it any knowledge system. So the purpose and aim of knowledge is to bring in transformation within. Because the purpose of, suppose, imagine, and that is how, we all pray sometimes at, when we are in oneself, in one's own space. Tamaso ma jyotirgamaya, mrityorma amritam gamaya. That we are every day living in mrityu. That is, we are living in ignorance. We are living in avidya. But we aspire for vidya. That is amrit. That is, knowledge is like amrit to us, because it opens the door. It opens the wheel. It actually takes off the wheel that we have in front of our eyes. And that is how it becomes so significant that we are knowledge seekers. And knowledge actually transforms. It gives us an opportunity. It actually represents, if you observe it very carefully, there is a movement in knowledge. When you did not have knowledge and when you have knowledge, there is certainly, you will see a shift in your existence, in the quality of your existence. You have moved on and you can never now step back. That is the quality of knowledge, that it never leaves you untransformed. It will always affect you. It will always leave an impact on your existence. And that is the significance, the gravity of knowledge. And that is how, we are talking about knowledge that we derive from Indian cultural system. And we must, as academicians, we may feel that this classification of Indian knowledge in itself is not a good idea. I agree that all knowledge is universal. It is a universal phenomena which actually impacts us. It is not that we do not quote and we do not make sense of Socratic values. It is not so that we deny Aristotle absolutely. We use Aristotle, we use Plato, we use Kant, all knowledge is universal in its character. Hence, we do not deny, we cannot deny, we should not deny. But when it comes to the contribution of any culture, when it comes to the uniqueness of any culture, probably that cannot be denied, or Indian knowledge system cannot be denied having its own significance and uniqueness and peculiarity. And hence, this classification with regard to even other kind of sciences, be it Latin, Japanese, Chinese, this would be a valid condition for classification of knowledge system or Indian knowledge system per se. But another significant question which comes to us is that what kind of an India we are referring. Any country cannot be understood, cannot make sense until unless we refer to its cultural value system, until unless we actually play hands-on with the cultural value system it has been adhering to, it has been referring to, it has been living those values. And hence, I would say that Bharat has altogether a different connotation when it comes to India. And we all understand Bharat, that is India. We recently observed this debate on televisions also, that Bharat, that is India, or India, that is Bharat. It is for us to make sense of it. The term Bharat is embedded in the meaning, which actually means that which shines, right? And I'm not sure what India refers to, but I'm sure of having done some, studies in my Sanskrit honors. I believe that I can ensure the meaning of Bharat by stating that Bha means that which shines forth. And also, when we refer to the Constitution of India, we do find that there are plenty of pictures in front of each chapter. The first chapter, we'll see that the purpose is 7. There are lotuses. What does it mean by having or representing lotus? A lotus is nothing but inability in an individual to keep away from the filth that lotus is born out of. And this becomes a value. That is how the Constitution portrays plenty of pictures. You can see there can be some here and there with regard to the pictures with reference to each chapter. There was Jebubul in the first picture is Jebubul and Sindhu Sabhyata. When there is a chapter on educational system, there is the picture of Nalanda, the Vedic Gurukul. When it comes to administration, Ram Rajya, the picture of Ram Rajya comes there. When there is, there is some kind of confusion with regard to performance of duties, then there is Krishna Arjun Sambad also. Lord Buddha is also there. And then Lord Mahavir is also there. It is represented by, I believe it is represented by Lord Mahavir in the High Court. And then the Ashoka's picture is also to be found. Hanuman's picture is also, when it comes to serving community. And then Singhasan Battisi, that is also there. Nalanda, as I said. Guru Gobind Singh is also there. Ardhanarishwar is, when we have to talk about the values of beauty, aesthetic beauty, then who other than Nataraj could represent it? And then Shivaji Maharaj. And this actually ensures that a due note has been taken with regard to the personalities which have led a magnificent impact on the Indian psyche. It is not with regard to, Sampradayikta, it is not with regard to a particular Pradesh, but it is all about who has led or who has yielded what kind of results to the Indian mind. So I believe that as of now, we can conclude by understanding or developing an understanding of IKS as something which refers to a holistic approach towards human life. It does not debar imagination. It does not underrate imagination. It rather supports a life which is not purely mechanical, which is not purely scientific. And you will not be surprised to know that many of the scientists, they were adhering to their particular religion. I mean, be it Jew or a Christian. You'll find many of the scientists to be very, very religious in their approach. So science does not suggest that you go absolutely atheistic. They do have their own limitation. They do, and one of the experiments on Higgs boson finally ended up by claiming goddamn particle. So which actually represent the limitation of human mind, the scientific approach that we all try to aspire for. Yes, it should be, no doubt. But there is a limit. There is a presupposition even done by sciences as well. It is not only social sciences who have their own kind of presuppositions. Even sciences have their own presupposition, and that is how there is a possibility of paradigm shift. If you read Kuhn, who writes that even in science there is always a possibility of paradigm shift. So I believe that IKS is one approach towards building identity, which does not deny imagination, arts, literature. I mean, it is a holistic kind of an approach that one can visualize for oneself. And also it refers to cultivation of meaning and purpose to life that we shall be doing in the next lecture. And it also is an attempt, in its humble attempt, I would say. It also tries to recognize the roots. It is, there is no shame in saying that via history we try to take a recourse to the historical facts or to the roots which actually constitute my identity, and it ends up in learning some facts and unlearning some facts, right? It is, I wouldn't say that unlearning some facts, but yes, once new facts are laid on the table, it is sure that they will have their own rigorous impact, and earlier truths or earlier perspectives may have to face some kind of their own shortcomings or limitations. And in this case, I would say it is IKS is serving two purposes, that is learning and unlearning equally. So with this, I would say that we stop here for the next lecture, and if there are any questions, we can take up those queries and questions. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Participant, if anyone has any question, please raise your hand.
I believe we have time. We have 15 minutes. 15. 20
Yeah.
minutes. कोई प्रश्न नहीं है.
I think so, ma'am.
That's very surprised. Very surprised. प्रश्न तो होना चाहिए, कोई कुछ ना कुछ तो. I do understand that you have participants from across the disciplines. There were people from, I believe, from commerce as well.
Actually, ma'am, I mean, and they are teachers. They all are teachers. They are not interested to asking questions. They are knowing everyone. Yes. So,
I
do not
understand.
worry. There is no question. They are aware about your theme, and they are all entertain your lecture. It is very nice.
नहीं, thank you, thank you. हमें लगता है कि जब तक कोई प्रश्न ना हो तब तक बात बनती नहीं है.
हाँ, कई बार ऐसे क्लास में भी लगता है. कई बार ऐसा क्लास में भी
हाँ.
लगता है क्वेश्चन ना हो रहा है तो लग रहा है या तो किसी के समझ में आया या फिर सबके समझ
ऐसा
में
लगता है कि हाँ. तो इसमें नहीं, मेरे लिए तो ये भी उतना ही इम्पोर्टेंट है कि अगर कोई कंट्रीब्यूट करना चाहे कोई फैक्ट, कई बार हमसे भी तो गलत पढ़े जाते हैं, तो हमारे लिए भी उतना ही फिर वो एक एनरिचिंग एक्सपीरियंस हो जाता है. तो अच्छा लगता है कि हाँ,
लर्निंग की कोई एज नहीं हुआ करती, कभी भी लर्न किया जा सकता है.
हाँ, एब्सोल्युटली, एब्सोल्युटली.
थैंक यू.
चलिए, ये लोग तो सुंदर व्याख्यान और धन्यवाद करके चुप करा रहे हैं कि भाई और ना कहा जाए.
दे आर ऑल टीचर्स.
आई अंडरस्टैंड.
तो फिर वो जी डॉक्टर सचिन प्लीज.
Okay, sir. So, thank you, ma'am, for such an insightful and thought-provoking session, and I would say waking up session. Your deep understanding of the Indian knowledge system and its relevance to today's education landscape has undoubtedly enriched all of us. Ma'am, you talked about other perspective of Aryan vision theory, that the Aryan belongs to the land, Sanskrit literature and Viman Shastra, Brahmagupta attraction theory added great depth to this discourse. Ma'am, your interpretation of the polytheism as the foundation of secularism was particularly compelling. The idea that knowledge is Amrit to us was a powerful reminder of the value and the timelessness of learning. This lecture has provided us with a fresh perspective on how traditional philosophy principles can be integrated into modern education. So, we are truly grateful for your time and expertise. Thank you once again, ma'am, for being with us today and for delivering such a marvelous lecture. Thank you, ma'am.
थैंक यू. अब मुझे उनका नाम याद आ गया, भास्कराचार्य. भास्कराचार्य जो न्यूटन से पहले 500 वर्ष हुए, उनका नाम है भास्कर. भास्कर 2.
भास्कर 2. Okay.
This is for your education.
Thank you, ma'am.
ठीक. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone.
Is there our next speaker, Dr. Sachin?
Sir.
Madam is available or
no. Ma'am not joined yet.
Dr. Shalini
Didn't join yet. So please.
Dr. Anurag Kakkad, please contact Dr. Shalini Chotrani, please.
Because sir, 15 minutes is left.
Okay. So now that we will visit within 10 minutes. No?
Okay, sir. We will participants. We will continue in 15 minutes.
This meeting is being recorded.
Rathore sir, should I continue? Salini ma'am has joined us.
Thank you. I request the host to please open the video from your side because आपने शायद उसको restrict कर रखा है. So because of that, I'm not able to open my video.
Oh, okay, okay, ma'am. Anurag sir, are you there?
I am calling him, sir.
Oh, okay, okay, sir.
Dr. Sachin, are you the session coordinator of today's
Yeah, yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Actually, ma'am, the video this is from HANSRAJ colleague. So.
Okay, no problem. We can inform them, तो वो खोल लेंगे.
Yes, ma'am.
Otherwise, also we'll start on time. ऐसा कोई दिक्कत नहीं है.
ठीक है, okay, thank you.
Dr. Sachin,
Yes, sir.
please allow to the madam. It is.
Actually, sir, we don't have the option of.
ये allow हो गया, आप देख लीजिए.
Salini ma'am, please try to. Yeah. You are visible, ma'am. Please allow. Yes, it's good. So, Dr. Sir, should I start?
Did sir?
Sir, shall I continue?
Yes, you can continue.
Oh, okay, okay. Good afternoon, ma'am. It's my pleasure to introduce our next eminent speaker, Dr. Salini Choithrani, having an accomplished academic in the field of commerce with a wealth of experience spanning over 14 years. Currently, ma'am serves as an assistant professor in the Department of Commerce at Dr. Hari Singh Gaur, Vishwavidyalaya Sagar, Madhya Pradesh, where she also coordinates the PG Diploma in Personnel Management under the University Distance Education Program. Salini ma'am is actively involved in the University E-Cell, Startup Cell, Placement Cell, and is a member of editorial board for the University Annual Report. Her leadership in organizing seminar and workshop, including a national seminar on demonetization, has contributed significantly to the university academic environment. Her research include a UGC-funded minor research project on the midday meal scheme and a PhD on finance inclusion. She has contributed to the academic world through 9 research papers, 4 chapters in books, and has presented at numerous national and international seminars. Ma'am has undergone specialized training at the Entrepreneurship Development Institute of India in Ahmedabad and serves as a faculty educator for the Pradhan Mantri Yuva Udyamita Vikas Abhiyan Yojana. Today, Ma'am will deliver lecture on academic leadership, governance, and management, drawing from her extensive experience in this area. So, please join me in welcome Dr. Salini, ma'am.
Thank you, Dr. Sachin. Thank you, Dr. Sanjeev
Ma'am.
Rathore as well. Yeah, for being such a wonderful organizers of the program. I would be talking about the topic academic leadership, governance, and management, which is one of the themes of the NEP Orientation and Sensitization as per the given mandate of the University Grants Commission. So just give me a second so that I can share my presentation with all of you.
Sure.
I hope the PPT is now visible to all of you.
Yes, ma'am. It is visible now.
Yeah. So the topic which I would be covering today is academic leadership, governance and management. मैं स्टार्ट करने से पहले थोड़ा सा बैकग्राउंड देना चाहूंगी कि क्यों NEP 2020 में the government has taken this particular theme to orient the youngsters as well as the second line of teachers as well as the people who are already serving at the administrative positions of the academic institutions of our country. Why academic leadership is important and what is the role of academic leadership in taking the academic institutions of India at the frontier level, and why governance and management together can help in bringing about a positive transformation in our academic institution. So this topic basically deals with the mandate which has been given in NEP 2020 regarding preparation of the second line of academic leaders. अब तक जो हम बात करते थे कि एकेडमिक लीडर्स, मैंने अभी स्लाइड बदली नहीं है, मैं सिर्फ आप लोगों को अभी एक बैकग्राउंड दे रही हूँ कि ये टॉपिक हम क्यों डिस्कशन करने जा रहे हैं. तो जो NEP 2020 में बात की गई है उसमें ये बात की गई है कि जैसे कि नॉर्मल सा होता है कि if a person retires or leaves an organization who is working at a higher position or who is at a higher level of hierarchy in a particular academic institution, so the vacuum which is created because of leaving of that particular person, be it any reason, personal or professional, that vacuum takes that particular academic institution at a very behind position, बहुत पीछे हो जाती है वो संस्थान उस वजह से. And when we have a pool of talent in our academic institutions, so why can't we prepare them beforehand? Why can't we have a pool of trained teachers well in advance so that whenever any such situation comes in or arises, we have people already ready to take up higher positions? Apart from that, academic leadership की बात ही इसलिए हो रही है क्योंकि हमारे academic institutions में बहुत सारा टैलेंट भरा हुआ है, लेकिन जो प्रमोशन की पॉलिसीज होती हैं they are like that. If a person completes say 8 years of service as assistant professor, then following the services of following the service और 5 साल और पूरा करके the person moves to the position of senior assistant professor level, then comes the position of associate professor, and then comes the professorship. So the time duration on the time which is taken in reaching the position of professor from assistant professor is so much कि जो young talent होता है उसको कहीं ना कहीं ऐसा लगता है कि अगर मुझे higher position पे जाना है तो I'll have to wait at least for this much time period. तो कहीं ना कहीं that leads to a kind of demotivation to that person that I am doing so well, I have talent, I have caliber, but despite that I cannot be promoted because of the time duration which is there as per the mandate. तो कहीं ना कहीं इन सारी चीजों को overcome करने के लिए and to prepare a good second line of leaders who are talented, who are committed, who are ready to take up senior positions in that institution itself without creating any gap or a problem for that institution, इन सबको सोचते हुए ही NEP 2020 में academic leadership को बहुत importance दिया गया है. Along with that, it is a truth that it is the leader only who can take any particular academic institution to the greater heights. And it is the leadership only, it is the charisma of a leader only that creates an impact and influence over the people. जो लोग उसको सुनना चाहते हैं, लीडर को उसको मानना चाहते हैं. तो जितना बेटर लीडरशिप होगा, उतना बेटर संस्थान चलेंगे, उतना बेटर इंडिया आगे बढ़ेगा और हम जो ग्लोबल लेवल के इंस्टीट्यूशंस हैं उनसे कॉम्पीट कर पाएंगे. I'll be talking about the issues which the Indian higher education scenario is witnessing and is encountering at present. तो उनमें से एक बहुत बड़ा issue brain drain का भी है. Let me tell you a very small data regarding this, that about 750,000 students move abroad every year. It is a rough number that about 7.5 lakh students every year leave India for pursuing their higher education abroad. So you can imagine the kind of brain drain that our country is witnessing from past so many years. It is because of it has become a trend also to move abroad and to take education there. It is because of the non-availability of certain courses in India also, and many more reasons are there. But if you talk about the foreign students who come to India for taking their education, the number is merely 50,000. So in order to address these issues, in order to make Indian academic institutions of global repute, NEP 2020 has come with the focus of empowering academic leadership through governance and management. So this was a brief about कि हम ये topic पढ़ने क्यों जा रहे हैं, कि ऐसी क्या जरूरत है academic leadership की, academic leadership होता क्या है, how NEP 2020 would be transforming the sector of academic leadership, what all changes are going to happen in the coming time with the full-fledged implementation of NEP 2020 in the area of governance as well as management. So both academic leadership as well as the governance will go hand in hand, will move simultaneously for making the Indian academic institutions of global repute, and India will be ready to become a Vishwaguru in the coming time. So this was the background of the topic. Now I will be moving like this. I would be talking about what leadership is, what all traits a good leader needs to have. नेतृत्व होता क्या है, एक अच्छे नेता में क्या गुण होने चाहिए. Then I would be talking about the academic leaders who are academic leaders, what academic leadership actually is, what all roles and responsibilities an academic leader is supposed to perform. Apart from that, I will talk about the role of academic leader in building strong teams, the higher education sector of our country, as well as I'll talk about the functions of management and how they have been integrated in NEP 2020. So this would be the flow of my presentation for today's lecture. In my coming lecture, I'll talk about the transformation that would undertake in NEP 2020 regarding the selection process, regarding the running operation of the academic institutions of our country, the changes in the regulatory bodies and the regulatory mechanism in the coming time that is going to happen with the full implementation of NEP 2020. What all issues NEP 2020 would address, and the initiatives that have been taken so far, that would be taken so far, that would be in the coming time. Together, Indian academic institutions can witness a good transformation in terms of operation, in terms of delivering quality teaching, learning, research, and innovation. So this would be the flow of my presentation and topic as well. Starting with a very conceptual part. आप लोगों में से तो बहुत सारे लोग इससे familiar भी होंगे कि leadership बोलते किसको हैं. Leadership actually, अगर आप बात करें, नेतृत्व जिसको हम हिंदी में बोलते हैं, it is a powerful social cycle. Why a word social cycle? Because without subordinates, leader is of no use, and without leaders, subordinates are of no use. If you want to follow somebody, you need to have a leader. If you want to create an impact on others, आपके followers होने चाहिए. तो आपको अच्छा लीडर बनने के लिए फॉलोअर्स की भी जरूरत है, पर आप अगर एज अ फॉलोअर हैं तो आपको कोई दिशा दिखाए, उसके लिए आपके पास एक अच्छा लीडर भी होना चाहिए. So leadership is a process of creating an impact over others. Leadership is a process of creating influence over others. It is a powerful social cycle in which a person who is given the leadership position or who is the leader for others actually creates an impact on others, help others in growing, developing themselves as an individual, as an institution, as an overall vision and mission of the organization. तो लीडरशिप ऐसा पावरफुल सोशल साइकिल है जिसमें लोग एक दूसरे से कोलैबोरेट करते हैं, एक दूसरे को इन्फ्लुएंस करते हैं एंड इट इज अ प्रैक्टिकल स्किल. व्हाई आई एम सेइंग कि एक दूसरे को इन्फ्लुएंस करते हैं बिकॉज मेनी अ टाइम्स इट्स नॉट लाइक दैट अ लीडर नोज एवरीथिंग. मेनी अ टाइम्स he or she may have people who have a lot of experience in their area. The people who are knowledgeable, experienced, they can also help leader in taking important and good decisions. So leadership, that is why it's considered to be a practical skill. Why practical? Because creating an influence over others requires a understanding of their behavior, personalities, attitudes and perception. आप तब तक लोगों को लीड नहीं कर सकते जब तक आप उनकी पर्सनालिटी को, एटीट्यूड को, उनके बिहेवियर को नहीं समझते हैं. लोगों को अच्छे से इम्पैक्ट डालने के लिए, लोगों को कन्विंस करने के लिए, यू नीड टू हैव अ बेटर अंडरस्टैंडिंग ऑफ देयर बिहेवियर, their personalities, and that is why leadership is considered to be a practical skill and a researchable area, because every time a single leadership style is not going to be useful. Every situation demands a new style of leadership. Every set of situation or a different situation requires different approach to the situation, different approach to the leadership style, and so on. इसीलिए कहा जाता है कि लीडरशिप जो है वो एक प्रैक्टिकल स्किल है और एक रिसर्चेबल एरिया है, क्योंकि आपको अगर दूसरों को इन्फ्लुएंस करना है, टीम्स को लीड करना है, तो आपको लगातार आपको रिसर्च करना होगा कि कौन सी सिचुएशन में कौन सा लीडरशिप स्टाइल यूज किया जाए, कौन सी पर्टिकुलर सिचुएशन में किस तरीके से डिसीजन लिया जाए. और ये आप तब बेहतर तरीके से कर पाते हैं व्हेन यू हैव अ अंडरस्टैंडिंग of the behavior, skills, attitude, aptitude of the people who are there with you as your subordinates. तो कहीं ना कहीं लोगों को अच्छे से लीड करने के लिए आपके पास एक ऑब्जर्वेशन का स्किल होना चाहिए, आप कॉन्टिन्यूस ऑनगोइंग बेसिस पे रिसर्च करने वाले होने चाहिए. देन ओनली यू कैन क्रिएट एन इम्पैक्ट ओवर अदर्स एज अ गुड लीडर. नाउ great leaders are created through an endless cycle of just a second. Self-study, training, preparation, and experience. Why great leaders are created through an endless cycle of self-study? आप तब तक लोगों को लीड नहीं कर सकते unless until you have an understanding about yourself. जब तक आप खुद को नहीं जानते हैं, जब तक आपको अपने strengths और weaknesses की जानकारी नहीं होती है, you cannot deal with others effectively. So for dealing with others effectively, one needs to know his own strengths, weaknesses, his own set of skills, and that is why a good leader is a person who is well aware about himself, about his strengths, about his weaknesses. At the same time, a good leader is a person who or a great leaders बनते कैसे हैं? Great leaders को बनने में उनका एक्सपीरियंस, उनका ऑब्जर्वेशन, उनका जो ट्रेनिंग है, प्रेपरेशन है, एक्सपीरियंस है, वो हेल्प करता है. एंड दैट इज व्हाई लीडरशिप इज अ नेवर एंडिंग प्रोसेस. एज लॉन्ग एज यू आर अ पार्ट ऑफ एन ऑर्गेनाइजेशन, एज लॉन्ग एज यू आर लीडिंग पीपल, you are learning, you are making others learn, you're getting experience, you need to have a study about self, and that keeps on going. Because the people who say that we know, I know everything, I don't need to learn anything, they cannot become a good leader. For being a good leader, one should be a lifelong learner, and that is why great leaders जिनको हम बोलते हैं वो जीवन पर्यंत सीखते हैं. उनको कभी ऐसा नहीं लगता कि that I know everything, I do not need anything to be learned, और मुझे नया कुछ सीखने की जरूरत ही नहीं है. Because of all these things, it is said that leadership is something that keeps on moving. It is an endless cycle, because as long as you're dealing with people, as long as you're leading a team, you need to learn, you need to prepare yourself, you gain experience, you train yourself, and you train others also. So leadership is how influence is created over others. It is how impact is made on others, so that people follow you and people help you in achieving the vision, goals and missions altogether in a combined and a shared manner. Based on all these things, what all traits a good leader needs to have? एक अच्छे leader में या अच्छे नेतृत्व में क्या क्या qualities होती हैं? So the very first quality that a good leader needs to have is integrity. There should not be any difference in what you're speaking and what you're doing. जो हिंदी में बोलते हैं ना कि आपकी कथनी और करनी में अंतर नहीं होना चाहिए, और आप निष्ठावान होने चाहिए, आप ऑनेस्ट होने चाहिए, कमिटेड होने चाहिए, कि मतलब जो बोल दिया वही है. It is not being about inflexible. It is about being remaining on your words. Affirmation. और आप कहीं ना कहीं आप जो बोल रहे हैं वही आपकी पर्सनैलिटी से भी रिफ्लेक्ट हो रहा है. At the same time, a good leader needs to have delegating abilities also, because the people who are fearful of sharing their powers with others, they cannot prepare their second line. A good leader is one who is always ready to share, to shoulder responsibilities, as well as to share his or her responsibilities with others, be it a small responsibility, be it a big responsibility. Okay, there are certain situations or certain powers which cannot be shared or delegated onto others, but at least mediocre powers and mediocre rights could be easily delegated to others. So a good leader is one who delegates his or her small powers to others, so that others also learn, others also are in a position to have a flavor, to have a taste of how leadership process is undertaken. Yes, a good leader needs to be a good communicator also. It is not about having a flair in language. It is not about speaking very good English or speaking very good language, be it any language, और लोगों को बड़े बड़े jargon से या words से मंत्रमुग्ध कर देना. It is not only that aspect of communication. Many times there are situations when you, as a leader, needs to communicate with your team members in a non-verbal manner also. आप बोल नहीं सकते हैं, आपको body language से message convey करना है. तो एक अच्छा leader वो होता है जिसका spoken और non-verbal, spoken, written और non-verbal दोनों ही type का communication बहुत proper हो. Who is able to deliver the message in a very clear, concise, and a crisp manner. And this requires good communication skills. Similarly, you cannot lead others, you cannot deal with others जब तक आप अपने बारे में aware नहीं होते हैं. So having a good understanding about oneself, as I mentioned just now also, that one should be aware about his or her weaknesses, strengths also. So similarly, a good leader needs to be self-aware person, so that he or she can make use of his strengths in getting work done from people. Similarly, a good leader can control his weaknesses while dealing with people. तो कहीं ना कहीं ये एक अच्छी लीडरशिप प्रोसेस की तरफ ही इशारा करता है, अगर लीडर अच्छा खुद को लेके सेल्फ अवेयर है. Similarly, a good leader cannot become a good leader without support of others. There are people who help him or her in the journey of success, in the path of success. So having a approach of thankfulness towards others, having an approach of gratitude towards others can help a good leader, can help a leader in gaining confidence of others. Because when you express your gratitude as a leader towards people who help you or who have helped you, you gain their confidence, you gain their support, which is very essential for leading people. Learning agility means a good leader is one who is a lifelong learner, जो सीखने के लिए हमेशा तैयार है, जिसको ये ना लगे कि मैं सब जानता हूँ. And yes, without influence, you cannot be considered as a good leader. If you are able to create an influence over others due to your charisma, due to your communication skills, or due to your rapport with the people, your chances of influencing people increases all the more. So this is also one of the traits of good leaders, that they are able to influence others. Similarly, taking decision in time, taking prompt decision, taking decision as per the need of the situation, not delaying the process of decision making. These all things together make a person a good leader. या ये कह सकते हैं कि ये वो ट्रेड्स हैं जो कॉमन हैं अच्छे लीडर्स में, इनको नॉर्मली देखा ही जाता है अच्छे लीडर्स में. नाउ moving on to the next part of my presentation, that is academic leadership. Leadership is different, academic leadership is different. No, they are actually very much similar. You break the two words. The first word is academics, the second word is leadership. So the leadership process which takes place within an academic setting, or which takes place or which happens in an academic institution, is termed as academic leadership. So academic leadership is the process or in which the academic leaders, they communicate, they inspire, they motivate their team members for what? For achieving the common shared goals. It is a process through which the academic leaders motivate academic environment in the university. It is the process through which the academic leaders provide challenging opportunities, as well as they create an environment which is conducive both for learning, for research, as well as innovation, so that people working in that organization can improve themselves. At the same time, they are able to contribute to the growth of that organization also. So in simple language, academic leader is a person who is responsible for creating a culture of teaching, learning, research, innovation, and experimentation in an academic institution. So who is an academic leader? We all are academic leaders. हम सब academic leaders हैं. Be it a person who is working as assistant professor, a fresher, a person working at the middle position of the academic institution, the associate professor, or the professor, or the chancellor, they all are academic leaders. Why? Because we are dealing with the people. We are leading a team of people. How come we teachers working as assistant professor are academic leaders? We are leading the team of our students. We are handling administrative responsibilities also. At the same time, we are into research also. We are into experimentation also. So altogether, all these things makes us people academic leaders. तो कोई भी academic leader हो सकता है. आप, मैं, हम, जो भी academic institution में work कर रहा है और academics को contribute कर रहा है, administration को contribute कर रहा है, और particularly academic environment को improvise कर रहा है, research और innovation को enhance कर रहा है, such a person is academic leader. So this is how we all are academic leaders. So academic leadership is inspire students towards success. The first position, because the core or the epic center of any academic institution are the students only. So as a teacher, a professor, or the member of faculty in an academic institution inspires others, help the students to grow, and at the same time contributes in honing the skills of the students, in providing knowledge to the students, helping the students in preparing for their future careers. Academic leader is a person who provides challenging opportunities to the students, so that whatever they have learned, they can test it, they can implement it, and they can improve their knowledge. So academic leader is a person who set goals along with the students. They are not the people who set goals in isolation, या जिन्होंने कुछ goals बना लिए और students को बना के दे दिए. No, an academic leader is a person who is there to inspire others, but to inspire the students. But at the same time, an academic leader does the goal setting along with the students, so that students can also have an involvement in the goal setting process, and they can have a feeling, yes, that I am also a part of goal setting process, so my contribution is equally important. So academic leader is a person who does all these things, that is motivating, inspiring the teachers, the faculty members, the students, creating a good teaching learning environment, and an environment of research and experimentation in an academic institution. Now, based on these things, what an academic leader is required to perform, what all functions. So the very first function an academic leader is required to perform is teaching, research, and fulfillment of administrative and other responsibilities. Teaching is the foremost or the most important responsibility or task of an academic leader. Why? Because it is only through teaching you communicate with your students, you inspire them, you create an impact on them. So an academic leader is first of all required to do teaching in time, to deliver quality content to the students, at the same time to ensure that others are also teaching well. Similarly, an academic leader has himself or herself has to do research, because creating an environment of research is not easy. But when you as a leader are involved in doing research, then you can create an impact on others. And similarly, आप जब खुद कुछ काम करते हैं तो आप दूसरों के लिए एक एग्जाम्पल सेट करते हैं. हम हमेशा उन लोगों से सीखते हैं जो वो काम करते हैं. आप बोलते तो बहुत है लेकिन आप करते नहीं हैं, तो आप कभी लोगों को इंस्पायर नहीं कर पाएंगे. लेकिन जब आप खुद कोई काम करने लग जाते हैं तो लोग आपको देख के आपसे सीखते हैं. So that is why an academic leader has to do teaching, research, similarly performing other responsibilities of different nature, be it administrative responsibility, be it an academic responsibility. So academic leader has to perform academic responsibilities also. At the same time, he or she has to fulfill administrative responsibilities also. Whatever you are doing as an academic leader, if that is not aligned with the vision and mission of the institution, all those efforts are of no use. Every single effort, every single task that is being done by an academic leader should be solely, exclusively connected with the vision and mission of the academic institution in which he or she is working. Exactly like that, working towards self-development is very important. आप लोगों को इंस्पायर कर रहे हैं, आप लोगों को से डील कर रहे हैं, आप लोगों को मोटिवेट कर रहे हैं. अगर आप खुद ही डेवलप्ड नहीं है, अगर आप खुद ही लर्नड नहीं है, अगर आपको खुद ही को नहीं आता है, तो आप कैसे दूसरों के लिए एक एग्जाम्पल सेट करेंगे. सो एन एकेडमिक लीडर नीड्स टू वर्क टुवर्ड्स सेल्फ डेवलपमेंट ऑल्सो. आपको दूसरों के डेवलपमेंट के लिए काम करने से पहले खुद के डेवलपमेंट के लिए काम करना होता है. Because when you are updated, when you are knowledgeable, when you have a good network of people, and at the same time you have a good pool of information with you, you can help others to grow as well. So working towards self-development also is required to be performed by the academic leader. As a person of higher position, creating a coordination, a cooperation amongst different units of the academic institution is also expected from an academic leader, because creating good coordination in different units, creating coordination amongst people can help in minimizing wastage of resources, time, money, efforts, and efficiency. So an academic leader is supposed to perform these many things. Now, based on that, what all qualities an academic leader is supposed to have? कौन सी अच्छे ट्रेट्स होने चाहिए एक एकेडमिक लीडर में? जैसे मैंने अभी आपको जनरल ट्रेट्स ऑफ लीडर्स बताए थे कि एक अच्छे नेता में क्या क्या क्वालिटीज होनी चाहिए. सिमिलरली एन एकेडमिक लीडर नीड्स टू हैव सर्टेन ट्रेट्स. सो द वेरी फर्स्ट ट्रेट दैट एन एकेडमिक लीडर नीड्स टू हैव इज विजन. आप कहेंगे कि मैंने विजन को सबसे पहले क्यों रखा है. आप आगे जब अगला लेक्चर होगा मेरा तो उसमें आप सुनेंगे. NEP 2020 में इंस्टीट्यूशनल डेवलपमेंट प्लान की बात की गई है, IDP की. The institutional development plan is totally based on foresightedness and vision. That how you foresee the future, how you see the growth of your institution, how you see the future of your department, how do you foresee your institution institution, where will you find yourself in coming 5 years, 10 years, 15 years? आप अपने आप को कहाँ देख पाते हैं आने वाले 5 साल, 10 साल, 15 साल में? All this requires foresightedness. All this requires vision. So the very first trait an academic leader needs to have is vision. That आपका संस्था को लेके क्या vision है, क्या दूरदृष्टि है, क्या सोचते हैं आप? Along with that, an academic leader since has a lot of public dealing. So good communication skills are an inseparable part of his personality. One needs to be a good communicator in the sense your flair in spoken language, your flair in just a second, your flair in Santosh, your flair in spoken language, your flair in कोई है उनसे बात करो देखो, your flair in spoken language, your written communication, then your body language constitute your. A good academic leader is one who is able to communicate a lot about his क्या कन्वे करना चाहते हैं. Patience, very very important of our country. We are teachers. We have to deal with the young brains of our country. We have to deal with young energy. We have to deal with the most impatient generation of the country. So dealing with them requires a lot of patience. And if we have patience, we can deal efficiently and effectively with them. Similarly, updated knowledge is very important because, again, I would like to repeat this thing, that we have to deal with the youngest generation of our country. The second youngest generation of our country, जो college education ले रहे हैं, तो वो पास Google के एक क्लिक पे बहुत सारा information है, तो आपको क्यों सुनेंगे? आप inspire हो. Inspiring them, for motivating them, we need to have updated knowledge about different sectors, about different areas. So a good leader is one who has updated knowledge. Similarly, a good academic leader should be an action-oriented person. जिसको ये ना हो कि decision आज लिया और उसको implement late किया. तो अगर आप timely decision लेते हैं, उसको timely implement करते हैं, अगर आप action-oriented हैं, किसी चीज को डिले नहीं करते हैं, सिचुएशन की नीड के हिसाब से डिसीजन लेके उसको एग्जीक्यूट करते हैं, तो आप एक अच्छे एकेडमिक लीडर माने जाते हैं. लर्नर्स अप्रोच is very much related to updated knowledge. You cannot update your knowledge unless until you have a learner's approach. That means you're always ready to learn anything new, any new concept, any new terminology, any new technique. If you have a learner's approach, you're always ready to learn, to grasp, and to deliver the same to your students. Creativity and innovativeness. Creativity and innovativeness also. Creativity and innovativeness also is an important trait of an academic leader. Dealing with young energy, young brains, young child requires a lot of creativity. When you are creative, when you are innovative, you can motivate them at the same time. Not you can only motivate them in being creative and innovative. जब आप खुद creative और innovative होंगे as an academic leader, तो आप अपने students की, अपने learners की creativity को भी बाहर निकाल के ला सकते हैं. So these are certain important traits that an academic leader needs to have. Now, how an academic leader can build strong team, and what all roles an academic leader can play in building a strong cohesive team in an academic institution. So the very first thing for building a strong team by an academic leader requires development of common shared goals. Goal setting, if is done in isolation, if the leader is a person who believes that कि मुझे सारा जो goals हैं वो खुद ही तय करने हैं, I'll not take help of others, I'll not involve others. If an academic leader is a person who keeps things centralized to himself or herself, then getting support from people is not at all easy. For building a strong team, an academic leader needs to develop goals in coordination, in support, and in relation to everybody who's a part of that particular group. आप जब सबके साथ मिलके गोल सेटिंग करते हैं तो कहीं ना कहीं आप लोगों को इजीली इन्वॉल्व कर पाते हैं. सो द वेरी फर्स्ट step towards building a strong team is developing goals which are common for everybody, and this requires participation, involvement of everybody in the process of goal setting. Then comes how you can build strong team. It is when you help others in their professional growth, in their professional development. English mein there is a saying that we do remember only those bosses which were who were the people who acted as door openers for us, जिन्होंने हमारे लिए जीवन में दरवाजे खोले, रास्ते खोले. हम उन बॉसेस को हमारे अपने जीवन में हमेशा याद रखते हैं. So for getting coordination and support of others, an academic leader should be a person who should help others not only in their personal growth but in their professional growth also. जो उनको opportunities दे, जो उनको platform दे अपने subordinates को आगे बढ़ने के लिए. When you act as a leader, climbing which people can excel in their life as an academic leader, then you will be remembered by generations, by the generations to come as a person, as a leader. लोग आपका example देंगे. Exactly like that, for building a strong team, as an academic leader, you should have your own vision, but your vision and mission should be very much interlinked, should be closely related with the mission. मैंने अभी थोड़ी देर पहले भी कहा था, whatever efforts you are taking as an academic leader, if they are not linked, if they are not aligned with your institution's vision and mission, they will be of no use. Building supportive relationship is very important for building a strong team. Without having a good rapport with the people, without having good relationship with people, you cannot think of leading team, you cannot think of achieving goals within the given time line or the time framework. So for achieving goals, for achieving targets, you need to develop good relationship with others. जब आप ऐसे मेंटर के रूप में लोगों के सामने होते हैं, as an academic leader तो आप हैं ही हैं. When you act as a mentor for others, when you act as a person whom people can approach in case of any emergency or in case of need or help or support, when you extend a helping hand to others, आप लोगों की जब किसी इमरजेंसी की सिचुएशन में मेंटरिंग करते हैं, हेल्प करते हैं, तो लोग आपको अच्छा मान के आपके सपोर्ट में हमेशा खड़े होते हैं आने वाले टाइम में. So for building a strong team, an academic leader needs to have maintenance of cordial and supportive relationship with others. And ये सारे ऊपर के पॉइंट्स को करने के लिए बहुत जरूरी है कि आप अपने टीम के हर मेंबर को इक्वल इम्पोर्टेंस दें. You behave with everybody in a manner of parity. And for bringing about parity, you need to encourage others to actively participate in the process of goal setting, in the process of achieving goals, in the process of sharing the vision and mission of the organization. So when you involve everybody in the process of growth, जब आप सभी को हेल्प करते हैं, आप सभी का एक्टिव इन्वॉल्वमेंट इंश्योर करते हैं, सभी को एनकरेज करते हैं पार्टिसिपेट करने के लिए, बोलने के लिए, तो कहीं ना कहीं आप एक इफेक्टिव लीडर के रूप में लोगों के सामने प्रस्तुत होते हैं. Whatever kind of team you may have, whatever task you all are doing, but as an academic leader, if you are not monitoring the performance of your team, if you are not measuring their effectiveness, every effort is a waste of time. How people are performing, how you are issuing them direction, how you are giving them instruction, and how are they performing. If that is not tracked, if that is not being taken care of, then आप कभी भी अच्छा performance और आगे के लिए ज़्यादा स्टडी नहीं कर सकते. So for effective team building, an academic leader needs to monitor the performance of the team time to time. So this is how an academic leader can build a strong team in an academic institution. Now, moving on to the next part of my presentation, that is the roles and responsibilities that an academic leader is supposed to perform in an academic institution. So there are 4 categories or 4 set of roles and responsibilities that academic leader is required to perform. The very first set of responsibilities is towards the department. The other set of responsibility that an academic leader has to perform is towards the institution. The third is towards oneself, and last is towards the society. अब सबसे पहला रोल और रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी एकेडमिक लीडर का डिपार्टमेंट की तरफ क्यों होता है? Because our identity is because of our department. Our identity is closely related to the department in which we are working. So, as an academic leader, the very first responsibility that one should perform is maintaining good, healthy working environment, because this is the major concern, area of concern for people working in an institution. Similarly, it is one of the biggest reasons of non-performance of people and poor performance of the institution. तो किसी भी संस्था में अगर अच्छे रिजल्ट्स नहीं आते हैं, तो अगर आप एम्प्लॉयज से बात कीजिए तो उनका एक ही रीजन होता है, बहुत सारे रीजंस में से एक बड़ा रीजन होता है that the environment at my workplace is not conducive. People at my workplace are not helpful. The environment is very toxic. तो ये सबसे बड़ा कंसर्न होता है लोगों का. सबसे पहला रोल क्या है एकेडमिक लीडर का? is to create an environment in which people are free to discuss their issues, in which people compete with each other but in a very healthy manner, in which everybody has a feeling, yes, there is an impartial approach towards everybody. And who is responsible for creating this kind of environment? It is the academic leader. Then, ensuring delivery of quality teaching. अगर आप अच्छे से पढ़ाते नहीं हैं तो आप कभी दूसरों को इंस्पायर नहीं कर सकते, और अगर आप दूसरों को इंस्पायर नहीं कर सकते तो आप लीडर नहीं बन सकते, और अगर आप दूसरों को इंस्पायर नहीं कर सकते तो आप आने वाली जनरेशंस के साथ एक्चुअली धोखा कर रहे हैं, बिकॉज we being teachers are responsible for creating the future of our country. We are responsible for development of the future leaders of our country. So how come we can prepare good future leaders for our country? It is through imparting quality teaching to our students. When you take classes in time as a leader, when you do work, when you undertake responsibility, you set an example before others. कि आपको भी क्लास जैसे होता है ना, don't take it otherwise if anybody is heading the department, please excuse me for this particular statement, कि अगर आप किसी डिपार्टमेंट को हेड कर रहे हैं और अगर आप खुद टाइम पे क्लास नहीं लेते हैं, तो जब आप दूसरों को बोलते हैं ना कि आप क्लासेस टाइम पे लीजिए, तो वो आपको पलट के बोल सकते हैं कि पहले आप तो लीजिए. तो कई बार लोग झिझक के चलते भी नहीं बोलते हैं, बट एज एन एकेडमिक लीडर it is your responsibility, it is our responsibility to deliver quality content to our students, because we are responsible for creating the future of our country. And this is possible only through imparting good quality teaching to our students. Then the other area of concern for our students is for the people working in an organization is the role ambiguity. People have a concern, people have a complaint, rather I should say, that why am I burdened with these many roles and responsibilities, why that other person is free, we are drawing equal amount of salary, why I am doing all this work, why I am becoming a beast of burden. So this happens when there is no clear distribution of roles and responsibilities amongst the staff members. And who is responsible for determining the roles and responsibilities in a very clear manner? It is the academic leader. So clear distribution of responsibilities amongst people is one of the important tasks of the academic leader. Then fostering the environment of teaching, learning as well as research. Universities and institutions of higher learning are known for their research. They are known for their teaching, but at the same time they are known for their research. So for fostering the climate, the environment of research, the academic leader should himself be involved in quality research and should encourage the same also. Should motivate the faculty members to undertake quality research projects, to undertake good research, so that the research atmosphere of that institution can grow, can prosper, can develop. Mentoring students and faculty members. You may ask, you can ask कि मैम आपने इसमें मेंटरिंग स्टूडेंट्स के साथ मेंटरिंग ऑफ फैकल्टी मेंबर्स क्यों लिखा है? तो ऐसा होता है कि मेंटरिंग की जरूरत सिर्फ स्टूडेंट्स को होती है, हमको नहीं होती है. We are also human beings. We also at times encounter difficult situations. We also need to overcome a particular problem, a particular situation. We also require mentoring. So who will mentor us? Our seniors, our academic leaders are there to mentor us. So mentoring not only students but also faculty members along with students is an important task of an academic leader. Developing innovative pedagogies for teaching and learning is something that should be done by an academic leader. If you are making use of innovative pedagogies, if you are making use of good and innovative teaching tools, you can keep your students engaged in the class. And this is to be ensured by the academic leader. Whether people are doing their work in time, whether people are completing their responsibilities assigned to them or not, who is there to ensure all these things? It is the academic leader who will ensure these particular things. Now, there is another set of responsibility that an academic leader has to perform, and that is towards the institution. What all roles and responsibilities an academic leader has to perform towards the institution? It is taking different responsibilities of administrative nature time to time. I'll quote an example of my vice chancellor here, that the day she joined, a very dynamic lady she is, Professor Nilima Gupta. So one of my colleagues asked her, ma'am, for reaching a position like you is not that easy. So what a single piece of advice you will give to all of us, particularly the young faculty? So she said, never say no to any responsibility that is given to you. It's not like that you take up all the responsibilities या आप सारा बोझा उठा लें. But अगर आपको किसी अलग नेचर का कोई काम दिया जाता है तो उसको full heartedly लीजिए, because it is only through learning and doing you gain experience and you become capable of handling difficult situations and higher positions in the coming time. So this is another responsibility of the academic leader. Then working towards the overall vision and mission of the organization is something that should be done by academic leader. मैं इसको repeat नहीं करूंगी क्योंकि मैंने बार-बार कहा है that every single effort of the academic leader must be linked with the vision and mission of the organization. Working with integrity, honesty, dedication, commitment. जो आप कह रहे हैं वही आप कर रहे हैं. Such a person, then you gain cooperation from others very easily. People trust you, people support you, people extend their help to you, and you become all the more successful. Then, last very point is very important these days. People who are good at networking, their chances of success increases manifold. आप इस बात को झुटला भी नहीं सकते हम सब, rather, because for getting sponsorship for the programs, for getting good placements for our students, you require a kind of networking with people, with industries, with academicians, with others also in the society. तो अगर आपको अपने स्टूडेंट्स के लिए अच्छा प्लेसमेंट चाहिए, अगर आपको रिसर्च में कोलैबोरेटिव एक्टिविटीज करनी है, अगर आपको इवेंट्स के लिए स्पॉन्सरशिप चाहिए, तो आपका नेटवर्क बहुत स्ट्रांग होना चाहिए. और नेटवर्क स्ट्रांग करना किसकी रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी है? एकेडमिक लीडर की है. So going for collaborative activities so that the institution can be benefited out of this strong and strengthened network of the academic leader can ensure the growth of the organization. Then one set of responsibility that an academic leader has is towards oneself also. भाई सबके प्रति जिम्मेदारी निभाने से पहले हमें खुद के प्रति भी तो निभाना है. So what all responsibilities we have towards ourselves as an academic leader, that is upgradation of knowledge. An empty glass cannot give anything to others. सो दूसरों को कुछ देने के लिए पहले आपके अपने पास कुछ नॉलेज होना चाहिए. आपके अपने पास नॉलेज कैसे होगा? When you undertake different programs, like you people are attending this particular program, this will help you in your personal and professional growth. Whatever knowledge you acquire through the upgradation of knowledge through these kind of programs or workshops or seminars, that is used by an academic leader in strengthening the knowledge base of these students, in mentoring these students. Whatever knowledge we take, we share it with our students. That helps them in their growth, both in their career growth as well as in their personal growth. So towards society, सबसे बड़ी जिम्मेदारी हमारी as an academic leader है, तो वो society की तरफ है. Why? Because in my start of lecture also I mentioned that we are preparing the future of our country. We are preparing the workforce of our country. जो अनएम्प्लॉयमेंट की बात जब भी आती है तो पीपल से दैट अनएम्प्लॉयमेंट इज राइजिंग लाइक एनीथिंग. पीपल, द यंगस्टर्स डू नॉट हैव जॉब्स टू डू. जॉब मार्केट इज सक्ड और कोई नौकरियां नहीं है. लोग कैसे काम करेंगे? यंगस्टर्स ने इतना पढ़ाई कर ली, डिग्री नहीं है, नौकरी नहीं है. Why is that happening? Because the report of Skill India says that only 47 to 48% of our youth are employable. That means 52% of our youth are not at all employable. They do not have necessary skill set which is required, which is demanded by the industry. So why our students are lacking skills? Why they cannot be easily absorbed by the job providers? Why they cannot be given jobs? Why industry is not ready to take them up for filling the different positions? Because उनके पास नेसेसरी स्किल्स नहीं है. तो इसमें सिर्फ उनकी गलती नहीं है, इसमें हमारी भी जिम्मेदारी बनती है. Through quality teaching, learning, engaging them, through testing their skills, through honing their skills, we towards nation building. Because if you are able to prepare quality workforce for the country, तो कहीं ना कहीं इंडिया का जो ग्रोथ है या 5 ट्रिलियन इकोनॉमी बनने का जो गोल है उसको पूरा करने से कोई नहीं रोक सकता. So these are different roles and responsibilities that an academic leader is required to perform. With this, I come to the conceptual part of my presentation. Conceptual आगे का numerical नहीं है, in the sense कि leadership क्या है, उसके roles और responsibilities क्या हैं, वो मैंने अब तक आपको बताया. अब I'll give you the scenario of the higher education sector of our country with certain facts and figures that I have taken. I have collated from different sources. You would be surprised to hear that by 2030, that means in coming 6 years, India will be the only country in the world, or India would be at the top position in the world, which will have highest number of college goers. आने वाले टाइम में इंडिया में सबसे ज्यादा कॉलेज जाने वाले बच्चों की संख्या होगी और वो होगी लगभग 140 मिलियन, 14 करोड़ बच्चे आने वाले टाइम में हायर एजुकेशन लेने के लिए रेडी होंगे. तो आप इमेजिन कर सकते हैं कि कितना बड़ा मार्केट हायर एजुकेशन के लिए उपलब्ध है हमारी कंट्री के एजुकेशन प्रोवाइडर्स के लिए. आई एम नॉट of the education, or I'm not talking about the promotion of the private institutions. I'm talking about the come from the side of the students in the coming time. कि कितनी डिमांड बढ़ने वाली है एकेडमिक इंस्टीट्यूशंस की, बिकॉज इतने स्टूडेंट्स कॉलेज जाने के लिए आने वाले टाइम में तैयार होंगे. नाउ एज अ कॉमर्स टीचर आई से दैट how you invest money in a particular option. आप किसी भी चीज में पैसा कैसे लगाते हैं? जब आप देखते हैं that उस particular sector में returns की बहुत ज्यादा उम्मीद है. We do not usually like to invest at a place where the chances of returns are very minimal or are very low. Similarly, अगर मैं बात करूं foreign direct investment की, जो कि इंडिया के एजुकेशन सेक्टर में पिछले 22 years में आया है. So this is the data as per DPIIT, that is Department for Promotion of Industry and Internal Trade. This data says that about $3.24 billion foreign direct investment came to India's education sector. And if investors can foresee this situation, if investors can, the foreign investors can foresee this situation, can take advantage of this situation, why can't we? Foreign investors are investing money in our education sector. Why are they investing? Because उनको returns की उम्मीद दिख रही है, तभी तो ना वो इतना पैसा लगा रहे हैं. तो हम इस opportunity का फायदा क्यों नहीं उठा सकते? आने वाले टाइम में 14 crore students हमारे ready होंगे. Foreigners are investing money in India's education sector like anything. Why can't we take the advantage of this opportunity? So, India's higher education sector has a lot of potential of growth, but at the same time, there are certain obstacles, there are certain hindrances that need to be overcome for gaining the full benefit of this growing demand of the higher education in our country. अब सबसे इतना अच्छा एजुकेशन सेक्टर है, इतना डिमांड बढ़ने वाली है, but despite that, the biggest challenge for India's higher education sector is its low gross enrollment ratio. Now, what is gross enrollment ratio? Let me explain you with the help of an example. Say, for example, the population of 18 to 23 years of age of our country is 1 lakh at present. हमारी कंट्री में 18 से 23 साल की ही कॉलेज जाने की जो होती है टाइम पीरियड होता है. A child completes 12th standard or higher secondary when he or she is 18 years old. 18 to 20, and by the time a child completes post graduation, he or she is 23 years old. So कॉलेज जाने वालों का एज ग्रुप कितना होता है? 18 से 23 years of age. तो उसकी कितनी पॉपुलेशन एट प्रेजेंट कंट्री में है और उसमें से कितने हायर एजुकेशन में एनरोल्ड हैं, उसको ग्रॉस एनरोलमेंट रेशियो बोला जाता है. Say for example, 18 to 23 years old are 1 lakh in number at present. तो उसमें से merely 28,000 are attending higher education courses. That means remaining 72% are nowhere enrolled, are not taking any kind of higher education degree. India's gross enrollment ratio at present is only 28.4. You can imagine कि जिस country को यंगिस्तान बोला जाता है, जिसमें इतना young population है, उसमें only 28.4% of our youngsters are enrolled in any one of the courses of higher education. तो अगर आप बात करते हैं 5 ट्रिलियन इकोनॉमी बनने की, अगर आप बात करते हैं थर्ड लार्जेस्ट इकोनॉमी बनने की, अगर आप बात करते हैं सुपर पावर बनने की, तो ये जो सारे आपके गोल्स हैं, जो इतने एम्बिशियस गोल्स हैं, उनको अचीव करने के लिए आपके यंगस्टर्स पढ़े लिखे तो हों, और अगर उनका ग्रॉस एनरोलमेंट रेशियो इतना कम है, सो दिस इज अ वार्निंग साइन फॉर अ कंट्री लाइक इंडिया. And this 28.4% of enrollment of our youngsters in higher education sector is posing a big challenge for the growth of our country. Now, but ऐसा बिल्कुल नहीं है कि इसके लिए कुछ प्रयास नहीं किए जा रहे हैं. The government is taking a number of initiatives to improvise this gross enrollment ratio. And you might have heard Honorable Nirmala Sitharaman ji, Honorable Finance Minister of our country, making an announcement while announcing the Corona relief package. उन्होंने announce किया था that India now would be spending 6% of its GDP on education sector, and government also has set a target of making India's gross enrollment ratio 50% by 2035. 2035 तक सरकार ने लक्ष्य रखा है कि इंडिया का ग्रॉस एनरोलमेंट रेशियो कम से कम 50% हो जाएगा, जो अभी 28.4% है. बट वो गोल भी अभी थोड़ा सा दूर है, और उसको इम्प्रूव करने के लिए अभी हमें एक लंबा रास्ता तय करना है. Why I'm saying that the path is quite long. The path is quite long because if you compare India's gross enrollment ratio with that of China, it is almost half. because China's if our gross enrollment ratio as per All India Survey on Higher Education portal is 28.4, China's gross enrollment ratio is about 48 to 49%. That means China is far better in terms of gross enrollment ratio in higher education or in overall education. Why a comparison between India and China is required? Yes, it is required. Why? Because both the countries are similar in terms of population. They both are almost equal in terms of population. तो कहीं ना कहीं अगर हम population में उनके बराबर हैं, तो gross enrollment ratio में भी तो हमको उनके बराबर रहना होगा. Government is putting efforts, government is taking initiatives, and government has set targets also to make the gross enrollment ratio of our country at least 50% by 2035. तो हम उम्मीद कर सकते हैं कि आने वाले टाइम में हमारा युवा भी ज्यादा पढ़ा लिखा होगा. Now, this is another slide that has certain data which I have taken from the gross the All India Survey on Higher Education 21-22. Please don't consider it as old one, because this is the latest data which was updated in the month of May only. 21-22 का डेटा अब तक का सबसे लेटेस्ट है ऑल इंडिया सर्वे ऑन हायर एजुकेशन पोर्टल का. So this data says that our gross enrollment ratio in higher education sector is 0.4. The eligible population age bracket of 18 to 23, उसमें से only and only 28.4% are enrolled in one or the other course of higher education. So this speaks that 70 to 70% of the youth is अगर आप इस 28.4 को numbers में convert करते हैं, तो this 28.4% gross enrollment ratio, if is converted into numbers, so the total enrollment is 4.33 crores in higher education sector. जिसमें से भी a sigh of relief is there that half of the enrollment is of male and half of the enrollment is of females. Female constitute about 48.7% of the total enrollment of this 4.33 crores. ये 4.33 crore के enrollment में male enrollment भी है, female enrollment भी है. That shows that our girls are also getting education and are at par with boys, with males in terms of getting education. Similarly, inclusive growth and inclusive development is at the core of India's goals. Marching towards becoming a superpower, India ने कभी भी समावेशित विकास का जो लक्ष्य है उसको दूर नहीं किया है. And that is why distance education is given a lot of weightage in our country. That if a particular learner is unable to reach the medium of education, let the education reach at its doorstep so that he or she can take education. And that is why distance education constitutes about has a share of about 45.61 lakhs in the total enrollment of 4.33 crores. तो डिस्टेंस एजुकेशन का भी अच्छा शेयर है हमारी कंट्री के टोटल एनरोलमेंट में. और जिसमें और अच्छी बात है that out of this 45.61 lakh of the total enrollment of distance education, the share of female students is about almost 45.8%. Now, the other point is very, very important. अगर आप total enrollment की बात करें 4.33 crores की, तो उसमें सबसे ज्यादा शेयर है यूजी के स्टूडेंट्स का. In total enrollment of 4.33 crores, the share of undergrad students is almost 79%, 78.9%. That means remaining 21% students are PG and PhD. So in our country, a child takes admission in undergraduate course, but when the time comes to move towards higher education and to pursue post-graduation or to pursue doctoral research, the number becomes very less. The number is actually minimal. you will be surprised to hear that in our country, merely 35% of the academic institutions are offering PG program, and only 3 to 4% of the academic institutions of higher education sector are offering PhD programs. So a child takes admission in UG, but because of non-availability of PG in certain courses and non-availability of research facilities, particularly this is happening with government colleges a lot. तो कहीं ना कहीं अगर स्टूडेंट्स के पास पीजी करने के लिए ऑप्शन ही नहीं है और डॉक्टरल रिसर्च की फैसिलिटी उनके संस्थान में उपलब्ध नहीं है और इतने कम इंस्टीट्यूशंस पीजी और पीएचडी प्रोग्राम्स ऑफर कर रहे हैं, तो पीजी और पीएचडी में एनरोलमेंट ज्यादा हो भी कैसे सकता है. Let me tell you, this is another sign of alarm for all of us, because UG में enrollment is so high, but the enrollment in PG and PhD is so low. So getting quality teachers in the coming time will not be that easy. How come we all became teachers? Because we saw our teachers. We underwent for post graduation degree. We undertook doctoral research also. और कहीं ना कहीं हमने रिसर्च में भी अपना इंटरेस्ट शो किया, हमने पीएचडी की. तो जो हम टीचर्स बने उसमें एक बहुत बड़ा रोल पीजी और पीएचडी एजुकेशन का है. तो आने वाले टाइम में अगर हमारे स्टूडेंट्स पीजी एजुकेशन और पीएचडी की तरफ इंक्लाइंड ही नहीं होंगे, अगर वो उसकी तरफ अट्रैक्ट ही नहीं होंगे, so getting quality teachers in the coming time would be a very difficult task. And this is also one of the reasons for the movement of students towards foreign countries for pursuing higher education, because it is not because of the lack of interest of the students in non-pursuance of PG education in the country, या वो फैशन के चलते अब्रॉड जा रहे हैं. इसका एक बड़ा रीजन ये भी है कि हमारी कंट्री में particularly this is happening in cases of science courses, that a child wants to pursue PG or doctoral research in a particular specialized stream that is not available in India. So the child is left with no option other than moving abroad. तो कहीं ना कहीं ये जो एनरोलमेंट यूजी में इतना हाई है लेकिन पीजी और पीएचडी में इतना कम है, this shows what should I say, जो डिक्लाइन है स्टूडेंट्स का पीजी और पीएचडी एजुकेशन की तरफ, वो आने वाले टाइम में एक बड़ा चैलेंज बन के आने वाला है हमारे सामने कि टीचर्स अच्छे नहीं मिलेंगे, डॉक्टरल रिसर्च के लिए स्टूडेंट्स नहीं मिलेंगे और क्वालिटी टीचर्स तो और कम नहीं मिलेंगे, because those who have an inclination towards research also have an inclination towards teaching. तो ये कहीं ना कहीं इस पर्टिकुलर इशू को भी एड्रेस करने की जरूरत है. Similarly, if you talk about the highest number of enrollment in a particular stream, तो till date also पहले के जमाने से जो चला आ रहा है कि बीए सबसे ज्यादा प्रेफर्ड स्ट्रीम होता था, तो कहीं ना कहीं बीए still is the most preferred stream for these students to undertake UG degree. Similarly, the other popular stream among students for pursuing undergraduate degree is BCom, followed by BTech and BEd program. So BA is still the most preferred stream for students, followed by BSc, BCom, BTech and BEd programs. अब आगे बात करते हैं कि हायर एजुकेशन का सिनेरियो क्या है हमारी कंट्री का. ये तो मैंने आप लोगों को एनरोलमेंट का बताया. Now this is the numbers regarding the kind of universities, the number of colleges and standalone institutions that we do have in our country. Just a second, participants. So this is the scenario regarding the higher education sector of our country. That is, we have about 1,168 universities in our country as per All India Survey on Higher Education. Similarly, we have about 45,473 colleges as per the All India Survey on Higher Education portal. The gross enrollment ratio is 4.33 crores, जो मैंने अभी आपको बता ही दिया था. and the number of teachers, if you see, is so very less in comparison to the number of students. And that is why our country has a very disbalanced kind of teacher-student ratio. Even though the data says that the student-teacher ratio is 24:1. That means on every 24 students, there is one teacher. But the reality is entirely different. You all are familiar with that. Many a times we are handling a class of, say, 200 students, 300 students, and many of you might be working at colleges or places where you are only two faculties taking care of the entire department. So the teacher-student ratio, even though student-teacher ratio, I should say, is 24:1 as per data. But reality alag hai. Student teacher ratio sometimes is 300:1. ये 300 students पे एक ही teacher है. Gross enrollment ratio is 28.4. वो मैंने आपको बता ही दिया. Number of teachers are very less. It could be because of the recruitments not taking place, or because of the high number of retirements, and many more similar reasons are there for less number of teachers. But ये कहीं ना कहीं एक दिक्कत की तो बात है, because students को अगर हम आगे ले जाना चाहते हैं, उनका करियर बनाना चाहते हैं, तो teachers ही नहीं होंगे तो कौन उनका करियर सवारेगा. But we have only 15,97,688 teachers in higher education sector of our country as per AISHE 21-22. लेकिन इन सारी चीजों में एक चीज बहुत अच्छी है, that our gender parity index is quite good. Gender parity index actually is the gross enrollment ratio of female with that compared with that of the gross enrollment ratio of male. So मैंने अभी आपको बताया भी था that our girls are equally getting educated and are at par with our boys, and that is why our gross enrollment ratio is quite good. Now, अब आते हैं types of higher education institutions in our country. कि कितने तरीके के higher education institutions हमारी country में exist करते हैं. So we all are very familiar with this categorization. We have universities, we have colleges, we have standalone institutions in our country. So universities, maybe we have central university, we have central open universities, which are taken care of and managed by the central government of our country. Then we do have state universities, state open universities, which are taken care of by the respective state governments. Then we have deemed to be universities, we have private universities also. So these all together are taking care of the higher education sector of our country. Then, but universities हमारे यूथ के एक बहुत छोटे से ही चंक की नीड्स को केटर कर रही हैं. उनकी नीड्स को केटर करने का एक बड़ा जिम्मा जो है, या एक बड़ा रोल जो है, वो colleges are playing, and that is why we do have a different categories of colleges also in our countries. That includes government colleges, that includes government aided colleges. We do have private aided colleges also, which are partially funded by government. And similarly, we have private unaided colleges also. Standalone institutions actually उनको बोला जाता है, मैंने आपको पिछली स्लाइड में भी दिखाया था कि standalone institution है हमारी country में, और standalone institutions की संख्या 12,002 है. So any particular course that requires a different kind of education and has a very different nature. Say, for example, technical education, pharma education, or you can say hotel management की जो पढ़ाई होती है, इनको जो provide करने वाले institutions होते हैं, they are termed as standalone institutions. So standalone institutions includes technical colleges, engineering or management की जो education provide करते हैं, paramedical colleges are there, hotel management institutions are there. They all together are a part of standalone institutions. Now, अब आते हैं presentation के अगले part पे कि आपने देखा होगा students का जो admission लेने का एक बड़ा criteria है जो students देखते हैं admission से पहले. एक तो placements होता है. But if you talk about competing at the global level, so what do students look after? Students go for the rating and ranking of that particular academic institution. कि उसकी rating कैसी है, उसकी ranking कैसी है. तो ये rating, ranking, accreditation होता क्या है? Let me explain you very first about ranking. रैंक्स कब मिलती हैं हमको? जब हम किसी प्रतियोगिता में भाग लेते हैं. When we participate in a competition, we secure rank. Say for example, a dance competition, a singing competition, or any other competition. So when you are participating in a competition, you get a rank based on your performance. So ranking in higher education is a process in which the performance of that higher education institution is assessed in a competitive setup. Many institutions are participating. Every institution will participate, and the performance of that institution would be assessed based on certain indicators or set standards. उनके आधार पे उस पर्टिकुलर इंस्टीट्यूशन का परफॉर्मेंस असेस किया जाता है. Vinay Kumar ji, you have raised your hand, but please give me 10 more minutes so that I can finish these 2 slides because presentation is quite lengthy. So I can address your query only at the end of the presentation. Please excuse me for this. Yeah. So I'll take up your queries, but in the end of the presentation. Yeah. So ranking is actually the process in which a particular higher education institution participates in the assessment process, but it is more of competitive nature. कि बहुत सारे संस्थान पार्टिसिपेट कर रहे हैं, उन सब का परफॉर्मेंस असेस किया जाता है कुछ इंडिकेटर्स और सेट स्टैंडर्ड्स के अगेंस्ट, और जिसका जो स्कोर होता है उसके आधार पे उनको रैंकिंग प्रोवाइड की जाती है. सो व्हेन यू आर पार्टिसिपेटिंग इन अ कंपटीशन, इट इज रैंकिंग प्रोसेस. देन कम्स रेटिंग. समटाइम्स आपको लगता है कि मुझे दूसरों से कोई मतलब नहीं है, आई वांट टू गो फॉर सेल्फ असेसमेंट. I want to know how am I performing as an institution. So rating actually is the process of assessing the performance of higher education institution in an individual manner. So जैसे कि जब आप NEC के लिए जाते हैं ना, NEC का जो process होता है वो रेटिंग और अक्रेडिटेशन का मिक्स ही है एक्चुअली. जैसे आपने देखा होगा NAAC में वो स्कोर्स आपको एलोकेट करते हैं, उनके 7 क्राइटेरियाज हैं, उसमें आपका स्कोर कितना आया उसको सम करके 4 के स्केल में से scores are given to that particular academic institution and based on that accreditation is given. जैसे आपका accreditation आपको टेक्निकल कोर्सेज चलाने के लिए AICTE का चाहिए होता है, दूसरे कोर्सेज चलाने के लिए UGC का accreditation चाहिए होता है, एंड लाइक दैट ऑन. जैसे अगर आपको रेटिंग के बेसिस पे NAAC का accreditation चाहिए तो आप NAAC के प्रोसेस के लिए अप्लाई करते हैं. तो रेटिंग क्या है? रेटिंग इज द इंडिविजुअल असेसमेंट ऑफ अ पर्टिकुलर एकेडमिक इंस्टीट्यूशन based on certain parameters or criteria in which that institution's performance is assessed and scores are given for each category, and in the last all those scores of different categories are summed up and an overall score is given, is allocated to that particular academic institution. So ranking जहाँ competition था, आप प्रतियोगिता में भाग ले रहे थे, rating इंडिविजुअल असेसमेंट है, आपको दूसरों से नहीं लेना देना है, आप अपना परफॉर्मेंस मेजर करवा रहे हैं, असेस करवा रहे हैं. बेस्ड ऑन दीज थिंग्स accreditation is being given by the accreditation bodies of our countries. जैसे हमारी कंट्री में 2 accreditation bodies हैं, एक is the very first is NAAC, National Assessment and Accreditation Council, which is the accreditation body of UGC, and for technical and management courses we have AICTE. जैसे आपने देखा होगा कि टेक्निकल कोर्सेज को चलाने के लिए AICTE का accreditation बहुत जरूरी होता है. So what accreditation actually is? Accreditation actually is the review of the quality of higher educational institution. It is actually a quality control mechanism. कि आपने संस्थान खोल तो लिया, आपका असेसमेंट भी हो रहा है, पर क्या आप क्वालिटी पैरामीटर्स को, जो स्टैंडर्ड्स हैं उनको फॉलो कर रहे हैं? क्या आप एक्सीलेंस की तरफ काम कर रहे हैं? आपको जो मैंडेट दिया गया था उसको फॉलो कर रहे हैं? उसको क्वालिटी कंट्रोल के तहत टाइम टू टाइम चेक किया जाता है, और उस अक्रेडिटेशन को टाइम टू टाइम चेक करके री-अक्रेडिटेशन भी संस्थाओं का किया जाता है. So ranking is competition, rating is individual assessment, and accreditation is quality control mechanism. अब आपने सुना होगा about, you might have heard about the global ranking agencies, जिनमें naming a few which are very popular and are globally renowned are the QS ranking, then is Times Higher Education ranking is there, Shanghai Ranking Consultancy, which is known as Academic Ranking of World Universities, These are popular and most influential global ranking agencies. QS ranking तो बहुत ही ज़्यादा popular है और आपने सुना भी होगा कि every year the QS ranking is released, and this is one of the biggest criterias for the students who look after a foreign institution to pursue their higher education. तो कहीं ना कहीं इन ग्लोबल रैंकिंग एजेंसीज का काम होता है कि इन संस्थाओं को रैंकिंग की प्रोसेस में पार्टिसिपेट कराना, बट फॉर according a particular rank to a particular academic institution who participates in the ranking process of these global ranking agencies, the major weightage is given to the research, and based on the research performance of the universities and institutions, the rank is accorded to the academic institutions worldwide by these ranking agencies. So it is not about teaching, it is not about anything else or the infrastructure. They are counted, but the research performance of universities and academic institutions is given the maximum weightage for according rank by these renowned global ranking agencies. अब बात करते हैं, ये तो ग्लोबल रैंकिंग एजेंसीज हो गई. हमारी कंट्री की भी अपनी रैंकिंग एजेंसी है और रेटिंग एजेंसीज हैं, जिसमें आपने सुना होगा NIRF के बारे में, which is National Institutional Ranking Framework. It is India's ranking agency which does the evaluation of academic institutions of our country based on 5 parameters. अब रैंकिंग और रेटिंग की जरूरत क्यों है? रैंकिंग रेटिंग एक्रेडिटेशन की जरूरत इसलिए है क्योंकि अगर आपको क्वालिटी बनाए रखना है और क्वालिटी को बढ़ाना है तो रैंकिंग रेटिंग एंड एक्रेडिटेशन आर अ मस्ट. अदरवाइज द एकेडमिक institutions will behave like anything. They will be out of control, and in order to make our academic institutions of global level, of global repute, ranking, rating and accreditations are a must. They are actually उनका कोई substitution नहीं है. So coming back to NIRF, which is our ranking agency, NIRF does the ranking of our academic institutions of Indian origin based on their teaching, learning and resources. Then the other criteria taken by them is the graduation outcome. यानी आपने क्या कोर्स के ऑब्जेक्टिव्स रखे थे, स्टूडेंट्स लर्नर्स वो सीखे या नहीं सीखे. सिमिलरली आपके स्टूडेंट्स ने सीख के उसको इम्प्लीमेंट करने की वो कंडीशन में आए या नहीं आए. At the same time, what are your research and professional practices? What all good practices you are following in research and in professional attitude? Similarly, what you are doing for the downtrodden, marginalized and the socially exclusive people. What all your efforts are there for inclusivity and perception of the stakeholders about your institution. कि आपसे जुड़े जो लोग हैं, चाहे वो पेरेंट्स हो, रेगुलेटरी बॉडीज हों या दूसरे स्टेक होल्डर्स हों, उनकी क्या सोच है आपके बारे में. बेस्ड ऑन दीज 5 पैरामीटर्स द परफॉर्मेंस ऑफ academic institutions is assessed and rank is given by NIRF to them. Similarly, we have got 2 accreditation bodies in our country. The first is NAAC, that does the accreditation of institutions, and AICTE, which is the accreditation body of NBA. NBA is the accreditation body of AICTE and NAAC is the accreditation body of UGC. इन दोनों का काम ही है academic institutions को accreditation देना, जिसके आधार पर वो टेक्निकल और नॉन टेक्निकल नेचर के कोर्सेज को रन कर पाते हैं. So we have our own ranking and rating agencies also, and we do participate in global ranking processes also, जिसको मैं आपको आने वाली स्लाइड में दिखाना चाहूंगी. So this is what India's performance is in the QS World Ranking. You would be very happy to hear that Indian universities, a total of 69 Indian universities have made a position along with 424 entries in 2024 QS World University Ranking by subject. Last year, हमने 355 एंट्रीज के साथ इस रैंकिंग प्रोसेस में पार्टिसिपेट किया था, बट इस साल वो नंबर बढ़ के 424 हो गया. सिमिलरली, IIM Ahmedabad was able to secure position amongst in top 25 institutions globally in the area of business and management studies. At the same time, I'm Bangalore and I'm Calcutta. Were able to secure a position in top 550 as per the QS World University ranking by subject. और जो IIM Bangalore है, उसका तो business and management studies में 22nd position आया है worldwide. Or IIT Guwahati has been named as one of the world's top universities in the area of data science and petroleum engineering subject, with a position falling in the range of 51 to 70. And petroleum engineering में भी इसका rank 51 से 100 के बीच में आया है IIT गुवाहाटी का. और जो सविता इंस्टीट्यूट ऑफ मेडिकल एंड टेक्निकल साइंसेज है, which is deemed to be university, has secured 24th position worldwide in the area of dentistry. तो कहीं ना कहीं हमारे इंस्टीट्यूशंस QS वर्ल्ड रैंकिंग में, ग्लोबल रैंकिंग में बड़ी जगह बनाने में बहुत सक्सेसफुल हो गए हैं. एंड द रैंकिंग इज कॉन्टिन्यूअसली इम्प्रूविंग. एट द सेम टाइम, if you talk about citations per paper indicator, the India's researchers are doing very good research, and their research citation per paper indicator has shown a improvement of about 20%. That shows that our teachers, our researchers are writing quality research papers. And एक डेटा मैं आपको और देना चाहूंगी कि वर्ल्ड वाइड AI पे जितने भी रिसर्च पेपर्स लिखे जा रहे हैं उसमें इंडिया सेकंड नंबर पे है. ये अभी अभी डेटा आया है. इंडिया वर्ल्ड वाइड सेकंड पोजीशन पे है AI रिसर्च पेपर्स को लिखने के मामले में. तो आप इमेजिन कर सकते हैं कि AI which is such a sunrise stream, people, Indian researchers are writing a lot in that area. तो कहीं ना कहीं yes, one more data, that there has been a growth of about 16% in the International Research Network Indicator. Collaborative research के बारे में है ये data, that our researchers are not doing individual research, rather they are going for collaborative research. Because when you go for collaborative research, your chances of bringing innovation and something new increases manifold. They become multiple times. So India's International Research Indicator is also showing a remarkable improvement of about 16%. Now, एक प्रेजेंटेशन का पार्ट यहाँ हो गया है. मैं 1 मिनट और लेते हुए आप लोग को फंक्शंस ऑफ मैनेजमेंट बताना चाहूंगी कि वो क्या होते हैं और उनको NEP 2020 में कैसे इंटीग्रेट किया गया है. तो आप में से जो कॉमर्स और मैनेजमेंट बैकग्राउंड के होंगे वो तो जरूर जानते होंगे. सबसे पहले तो फंक्शंस ऑफ मैनेजमेंट में आता है लाइफ का कोई भी हिस्सा हो, चाहे आपका जीवन प्रबंधन हो या आपका करियर का मैनेजमेंट हो या किसी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन हो या किसी इवेंट का. Functions of management and their incorporation. So functions of management कितने होते हैं? There are 5 functions of management. The very first is planning, then comes organizing, staffing, directing and controlling. Very first function of management is planning. That means deciding what is to be done in future. भविष्य में क्या किया जाना है, आने वाले 5 साल में, 10 साल में, 15 साल में क्या किया जाना है और वो कैसे होगा, उसको बोलते हैं planning. Looking forward is planning. Preparing for future is planning. अब उस प्लान को एग्जीक्यूट करने के लिए आपके पास रिसोर्सेज होने चाहिए, मैन, मटेरियल और मनी. तो उन में कितने नंबर्स में जुटाना है और उनका क्या रेशियो प्रपोर्शन रखना है, दैट इज टर्म्ड एज ऑर्गेनाइजिंग. अरेंजिंग रिसोर्सेज, एस्टैब्लिशिंग अ कोऑर्डिनेशन अमंगस्ट देम इज ऑर्गेनाइजिंग. अब संस्थाओं को चलाने के लिए लोगों की जरूरत है. सो how many people are required, their number and of what type, उनके पास क्या qualities और qualifications होने चाहिए, that is termed as staffing. Recruiting right kind of people, putting them at right job position is staffing. अब आप लोग तो ले आए, आपने उनको job position दे दी, अब आपको उनको direction देना है कि काम कैसे किया जाना है. You give them instruction, you show them direction, you give them path to excel. आप उनको दिशा दिखाते हैं, they perform work. You assess their performance. कैसे? कंट्रोलिंग से. लोगों को आपने रिक्रूट किया, सिलेक्ट किया, उनको जॉब पोजीशन दी, आपने उनको इंस्ट्रक्शन दिए, डायरेक्शन दिया, उन्होंने काम शुरू किया. यू असेस देयर परफॉर्मेंस, दैट whether they are performing as per the given instructions, directions or not, or whether there is any deviation in their in the instructions given to them. तो अगर वो अच्छा परफॉर्म कर रहे हैं तो उनको प्रमोट किया जाता है. अगर नहीं, परफॉर्मेंस में कोई लैक्यूना है तो उनको कंट्रोल किया जाता है, उनको फर्दर ट्रेनिंग दी जाती है. सो कंट्रोल इज अ बैकवर्ड लुकिंग प्रोसेस. तो इन 5 फंक्शंस ऑफ मैनेजमेंट को NEP 2020 में इंटीग्रेट किया गया है, जो कि आप इस स्लाइड में देख सकते हैं. प्लानिंग को इंस्टीट्यूशनल डेवलपमेंट प्लान के थ्रू इंटीग्रेट किया गया है. ऑर्गेनाइजिंग को बोर्ड ऑफ गवर्नर्स और एक्टिव पार्टिसिपेशन के साथ इंटीग्रेट किया गया है. स्टाफिंग के लिए अपने चेंजेस लाए गए हैं, जो मैं आने वाले इस पर्टिकुलर स्लाइड को मैं दोबारा लूंगी अपने मंडे के लेक्चर में. स्टाफिंग में चेंजेस आएंगे, डायरेक्शन और कंट्रोल की प्रोसेस में तो मेजर ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन आने वाला है. तो ये एक ग्लिम्स था कि कैसे फंक्शंस ऑफ मैनेजमेंट जो हैं, नॉर्मल फंक्शंस ऑफ मैनेजमेंट, उसको NEP 2020 में इंटीग्रेट करके जो ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन की बात की जा रही है उसको लाया जाना है आने वाले टाइम पे. With this, I end my today's presentation. I hope I have made myself quite clear to all of you. And now there are 2-3 minutes with you. आपको अगर कोई भी questions है, कोई query है, not only questions or queries, आप अगर कुछ add करना चाहते हैं अपनी तरफ से, you are free to do so. विनय जी, आपने hand raise किया था. हाँ जी, आप फ्री हैं.
आवाज आ रही मैम?
हाँ जी, बिल्कुल विनय जी आ रही है.
मैम आपका लेक्चर बहुत ही अच्छा था, बहुत सारी जानकारियां मिली मैम.
विनय जी, अभी पूरा नहीं हुआ है लेक्चर, मंडे बाकी है.
जी.
चालू भाषा में पिक्चर अभी बाकी है, तो अभी क्लाइमेक्स आएगा. हाँ जी
मैम, मेरा क्वेश्चन ये है कि NEP 2020 में ब्रेन ड्रेन को रोकने के लिए क्या कुछ प्लान है क्या?
बहुत बड़ा प्लान है. आपने शायद सुना होगा कि गवर्नमेंट ने 100 फॉरेन यूनिवर्सिटीज के कंप्लीट कैंपसेस खोलने की बात की है NEP 2020 में, और जिसका काम भी स्टार्ट हो चुका है. गवर्नमेंट ऐसे 100 फॉरेन यूनिवर्सिटीज को आइडेंटिफाई करेगी, उनके साथ टाई अप करेगी, उनकी कंप्लीट जो कैंपसेस हैं, उनके ब्रांचेस नहीं, प्रॉपर कैंपस उनके इंडिया में खोले जाएंगे, और वो यहीं रह के उसी लेवल का एजुकेशन जो वो अपनी कंट्री में प्रोवाइड कर रहे हैं, वो इंडिया में रह के प्रोवाइड करेंगे. तो जो हमारा बच्चा यहाँ से चला जाता है, ब्रेन ड्रेन की समस्या है और वहाँ की इकोनॉमी को कंट्रीब्यूट करता है, वो क्वाइट लेवल तक उसको कंट्रोल किया जाएगा. तो 2 यूनिवर्सिटी, मुझे एग्जैक्टली याद तो नहीं है, लेकिन 2 मैं श्योर हूँ, 2 से 3 यूनिवर्सिटीज आइडेंटिफाई भी की जा चुकी हैं और उनके साथ बातचीत भी शुरू हो चुकी है, और जल्दी वो अपना कैंपस इंडिया में खोलने भी जा रही हैं. तो ये ब्रेन ड्रेन खोलने को लेके एक बड़ा इनिशिएटिव लिया गया है.
ओके मैम, थैंक यू.
ओके, कोई और क्वेरी? थैंक यू नीति मैम. या any other query or any other point? We all are teachers. Don't hesitate in adding anything to what I have spoken. क्योंकि मैं भी लर्नर ही हूँ, मैं भी आपसे सीख सकती हूँ. अगर आपको कुछ लग रहा है, कुछ आप अपनी तरफ से ऐड करना चाहें.
मैम, एक क्वेश्चन और रिगार्डिंग दैट कि जैसे इसी ब्रेन ड्रेन रोकने के लिए, जैसे आपने कहा कि हम फॉरेन यूनिवर्सिटी से हम टाई अप कर रहे हैं और इनके कैंपसेस हम खोलेंगे. जैसे कभी बात आती है इंडियन एजुकेशन सिस्टम की, तो जो हमारे पुराने विश्वविद्यालय थे लाइक नालंदा, तो बहुत से फॉरेनर आते थे. अब तो कोई भी नहीं आ रहा. मतलब अब तो इंडिया से एक, मतलब कहते हैं ना, सर्किल है ये, कभी आप उनके तरफ जाओ, कभी वो आपकी तरफ जाए. तो क्या ये सर्किल का है, या फिर मतलब ऐसा क्या है कि वो हमारी तरफ नहीं अट्रैक्ट हो रहे हैं, हम ही उनकी तरफ अट्रैक्ट हो रहे हैं? ये हमारी एजुकेशन पॉलिसी
दोनों बातें हैं विनय जी. एक तो कहीं ना कहीं, एक मिनट, आपसे पहले एक छोटा सा क्वेश्चन है एक मैम का, वो मैं एड्रेस कर दूं. मैम ने पूछा है कि टीचर स्टूडेंट रेशियो क्या होना चाहिए आइडियल. इट इज नोवेयर रिटन मैम दैट इट शुड बी 15:1. भारती जी, ये यूजीसी तो कहती है कि आइडियल टीचर स्टूडेंट रेशियो एट यूजी लेवल शुड बी 30:1. 30 स्टूडेंट्स पे एक टीचर होना चाहिए. At PG level it should be 15 or 20:1. तो IITs और IIMs का एक्चुअली जो परफॉर्मेंस अच्छा होता है, उनके स्टूडेंट टीचर रेशियो के कारण ही है. तो कहीं ना कहीं अगर आप मुझसे बात करें तो 24 से 30:1 के ऊपर रेशियो नहीं जाना चाहिए. 15 थोड़ा सा कम हो जाएगा, क्योंकि फॉर अ कंट्री लाइक इंडिया विच इज सो पॉपुलस, जिसका पॉपुलेशन इतना ज्यादा है और फैकल्टी क्रंच ऑलरेडी है, तो हम इतने कम टीचर स्टूडेंट रेशो के साथ तो नहीं चल पाएंगे। तो आइडियल कहीं ना कहीं 30:1 हो सकता है, और जो प्रैक्टिकल ओरिएंटेशन वाले कोर्सेज हैं वो 20:1 के साथ चल सकते हैं। हाँ, आई होप आई हैव एड्रेस योर क्वेरी। हाँ विनय जी, आपकी क्वेश्चन पे मैं दोबारा आती हूँ कि हाँ, ये आप कह सकते हैं कि कहीं ना कहीं हम डिमांड को समझने में चूक कर गए। फॉरेन यूनिवर्सिटीज ने वो सारे कोर्सेज ऑफर किए, उन सारी स्ट्रीम्स में उन्होंने बहुत पहले ही कोर्सेज ऑफर करना शुरू कर दिए थे जिनमें भविष्य में जॉब्स आने वाले थे। हम एआई, ऑटोमेशन, साइबर सिक्योरिटी, क्लाउड कंप्यूटिंग, बिग डेटा, इतने ये जो हमने नाम सुन रखे हैं, उसमें ये यूनिवर्सिटीज और कॉलेजेस बहुत पहले से कोर्सेज ऑफर कर रहे थे। हमने थोड़ा सा उस अपॉर्चुनिटी को मिस कर दिया। और अगर आप बात करें तो ब्रेन ड्रेन उसके कारण भी हुआ। सिमिलरली अगर आप बात करें नालंदा या तक्षशिला जैसे जो यूनिवर्सिटीज हैं, तो आपने देखा होगा कि अगर आप गया गए हों तो नया नालंदा विश्वविद्यालय एग्जैक्टली उसी पैटर्न में उसके थोड़ा दूर बनाया गया है। तो कहीं ना कहीं हम अपने रूट्स की तरफ तो लौट रहे हैं, लेकिन क्योंकि एक बड़ा जनरेशन, एक बड़ा दौर वो निकल चुका है जिन्होंने स्ट्रगल इंडिया का नहीं देखा है या जो अपने रूट्स को नहीं पहचानते हैं। तो एग्जैक्टली वैसा वापस हो जाएगा इसकी पॉसिबिलिटी थोड़ी कम है, लेकिन कहीं ना कहीं हम कुछ लेवल तक सक्सेसफुल हो सकते हैं। और देखिए, मैकाले का एजुकेशन सिस्टम है और लंबे समय से हम उसको फॉलो कर रहे हैं। मैं ये नहीं कहूंगी कि सबका सब बेकार होता है, कुछ का कुछ अच्छा होता है, कुछ का कुछ अच्छा होता है, लेकिन अगर कोई चीज लंबे समय तक एक ही जैसी रहे तो वो समय अनुसार नहीं रह जाती है, उसमें चेंजेस की तो बहुत रिक्वायरमेंट होती है। तो हम ये उम्मीद कर सकते हैं कि एनईपी 2020 में कुछ फॉरेन एजुकेशन का जो अच्छा पार्ट है उसको लेके किया गया है, कुछ हमारे पुराने रूट्स या जो हमारे इंडियन ओरिजिन में चीजें रही हैं उसको लेके चीजें की गई हैं। तो देखिए, रिजल्ट्स और आउटकम्स तो हमेशा ही बहुत डाइसी सिचुएशन में रहते हैं। आप नहीं कह सकते कि क्या उसका आउटकम होगा, पर हम उम्मीद तो अच्छी कर सकते हैं। जी जी
जी मैम, बिल्कुल बिल्कुल। थैंक यू मैम।
और कोई और कुछ? माय प्लेजर, माय प्लेजर। या और कोई कुछ पूछना चाहेगा? या अगर कोई क्वेश्चंस ना हो तो मैं आपके जो ऑर्गेनाइजर्स हैं उनसे परमिशन लेना चाहूंगी सेशन को एंड करने की।
पूछना चाहेंगे, क्वेश्चन तो नहीं पूछना चाहेंगे, लेकिन सेशन इतना वैल्यूएबल और इंफॉर्मेटिव है, आपका लेक्चर बहुत वैल्यूएबल है और आपने इतने डाटा प्रोड्यूस करके हम लोगों को अवेलेबल करा दिए, तो इतना आसान काम नहीं है। क्या कहूँ मैं, सारे टीचर अवेलेबल हैं। एक क्वेश्चन अभी डॉक्टर विनय के थ्रू रेज किया गया था कि क्या हम तक्षशिला नालंदा विश्वविद्यालय की तर्ज पे हम पीछे तो नहीं जा रहे हैं अगर हम फॉरेन यूनिवर्सिटीज को इनवाइट कर रहे हैं? तो एक सवाल है, बड़ा सवाल है। और इसमें मैं ये कहना चाहूंगा
सर, मैंने अभी बोला ना। हाँ, बात आप सही।
हाँ, मैं ये कहना चाहूंगा कि तक्षशिला नालंदा विश्वविद्यालय की तर्ज पे हम उन फॉरेन यूनिवर्सिटीज को इंडियन कल्चर बेस पे अपनी टर्म्स कंडीशन पे विश्वविद्यालय अनुदान आयोग चलाने वाला है, ये बात हम अच्छे तरीके से जानते रहे। हमारे पीएम इतना छोटा मोटा एग्रीमेंट करने वाले नहीं हैं कि हम अपने कल्चर को खो दें। मेरे ये जो डॉक्टर विनय सिंह सर हैं, तो मैं उनसे कहना चाहता हूँ कि कल्चर शुड बी देयर, है ना। उनको कल्चर हमारा अडॉप्ट करना पड़ेगा और सिस्टम उनको अपना देना है, क्योंकि हम
बिल्कुल
हम अपने सिस्टम में पीछे हो रहे हैं, इसलिए ये कोलैबोरेशन किया जा रहा है इस टाइप का। और चूंकि वो पहले से स्वदेशी को अपनाने वाले हैं, तो वो उन चीज़ों को मुझे नहीं लगता कि इस तरीके का कोई नुकसान हो सकेगा, और चिंता करना बहुत अच्छा है। डॉक्टर विनय सिंह सर ने सवाल तो बहुत अच्छा उठाया, मेरे दिमाग में भी था और पूछा गया तो बहुत अच्छा लगा, है ना। तो इस पे हम लोग देखें, अगर कहीं
थैंक यू सर,
तो हम सिस्टम को बताएं।
थैंक यू सर। पहले तो मैं सर आपको धन्यवाद देना चाहता हूँ कि इतने बेहतरीन स्पीकर्स बुला रहे हैं आप, हमारा नॉलेज बढ़ रहा है, नई चीजें हमको जानने का अवसर मिल रहा है, और हमारी जो क्वेरी है उनका भी रेक्टिफिकेशन हो रहा है। सर, मैं डीएनपीजी कॉलेज गुलाउटी बुलंदशहर से हूँ सर।
नहीं, बहुत अच्छा है, इंटरेक्ट कर रहे हैं। मैं सारे टीचर से इसी तरीके से रिक्वेस्ट करना चाहता हूँ कि वे रिसोर्स पर्सन को इसी तरीके से इंटरेक्ट करें जिस तरीके से डॉक्टर विनय कुमार सिंह ने किया है, बहुत अच्छा लग रहा है। और ये प्लेटफॉर्म इसीलिए है, लर्निंग टीचिंग दोनों
बिल्कुल।
चीजें और डिस्कशन से ही होता है। डॉक्टर सचिन सर, प्लीज कंटिन्यू।
Okay, sir. So I'm concluding session. Thank you so much, ma'am, for your enriching and mind-expanding session. Ma'am, your discussion on the traits of leadership and the qualities that define a academic leader provides us with a deep understanding of how critical these roles are in shaping not only institutions but also the individuals who drive them. Ma'am, your explanation of what makes an effective academic leader, the importance of team leading, and the role and responsibilities of leaders within their department toward themselves and society was both thought provoking and highly relevant, ma'am. Oh, on the behalf of everyone here, I extend our heartfelt gratitude for your time and contribution to today's session. Thank you so much, ma'am.
माय प्लेजर। जब तक देखिए जैसे बिना फॉलोअर्स के लीडर का कोई वैल्यू नहीं है ना, बिना लिसनर्स के स्पीकर का कोई वैल्यू नहीं है। जब आप लोग क्वेश्चंस पूछते हैं, आप लोग बात करते हैं, तो स्पीकर को भी अच्छा लगता है। ऑनलाइन सेशन का तो ये सबसे ही इम्पोर्टेंट एस्पेक्ट है। सो आई टेक योर लीव नाउ, कैच यू अप ऑन मंडे इन द नेक्स्ट लेक्चर। ओके,
Thank you.
थैंक यू।
Thank you for all participation. So, with this lecture, we conclude today's program.
The recording has stopped.